1212, I go by the name of DJ What, and you're now listening to the original Jeek podcast. Let's go!
Ready to make an entrance, so backward cut. Come on, cut for me.
Oh yeah. Whoa, slow down. Whoa, speed up.
Fresh.
Yeah, making me itch.
What up, Jeeks? My name is ROCKINMRMAGIC. He is
UNIQDNA.
And this is the original Jeek podcast. UNIQDNA, my man, what's up?
What's up, man? What's up? How's everything?
Everything is everything.
Everything is everything. Lauryn Hill.
Everything is everything.
You're going to get us demonetized.
Yeah, all right, that's it.
Copyright strikes.
Come on. 4 words. You can't demonetize us for that. 4 words.
Yo, the FCC be out here, man.
Yo, for real, man. They need to be out there catching criminals. Like,
copyright strikes, man. Copyright strikes.
Bang,
everywhere. Everywhere.
Yeah, all right, we're not getting demonetized. All right. So we didn't sing anything from Lauren Nobody. That did not happen. But everything is cool. Everything is I was going to sing another song.
You see, you can't say a word these days without it being copyrighted. I think everything we're saying right now is copyrighted by somebody somewhere.
The copyright says copyright everything. Hey, no one say the word G because we've got the copyright.
We do.
It's ours.
That's
right here. Yes,
it's our precious. Wait, that's probably copyrighted too.
Probably copyrighted too. We used to create a show that is completely full of us just saying anything that's copyrighted.
All types of copyright infringement.
Yeah. And then we try to get record amounts of emails in, YouTube strikes and Apple Podcasts. Like, you can't say that and you can't play that in FCC strikes, and see how many we can get per day, and maybe we can make the Guinness Book for the most copyright strike emails in a day. That would be fun.
Yeah, that would be fun. That actually would be fun.
It would be.
It's good. We got to do I wonder how much research we would have to do beforehand.
Oh my God.
It probably wouldn't be that much.
No, I mean,
it's
really,
so easy these days.
Yeah, I mean, we've been on the planet, for 30 plus years. We've got our heads full of, pop culture references and, music and all film, all types of stuff. We can definitely fill up we can go down the rabbit hole with a whole lot.
It's funny you say that, because I'm thinking about, I was just about to say, I'm starting off the rabbit hole super early, but I want to know how Ready Player One was able to do.
That's a good question. Well, because they referenced, the movie or the book?
Both.
Well, because they referenced a lot of stuff, but they really didn't do a lot of quotes and stuff. There was a whole lot bunch of references to pop culture. But
actually, now that you say that, I'm thinking about the book. They didn't really use a lot of specific names.
They didn't really use specific names. They didn't go around quoting, Marty McFly or anything like that.
But they did they gave you enough detail that you knew what they were talking about. But the movie, Jesus.
The movies, that's easy. They've got the money to say, hey, we want to say this, we want to use this, we want to do this.
That's true. But man, if that movie would have bombed, the amount that they would have lost just paying for licensing fees alone would have been insane.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway,
let's
not go too far down a rabbit hole yet.
Yeah.
Moving on.
So before we start our what are you playing, watching, or creating section of the show, I want to give a community shout out to every Jeek who joined Clash of Jeeks. Clash of Jeeks, if you don't know, is this year's fantasy football league, and we've got 16 teams this year compared to last year's 10. So we want to shout out to everybody. I'm trying to think by name here, but my man Mo Stewart, obviously, Dion, Rob Mormon, and Brad Reppa. So many people. I'm drawing blank on names.
All 16 of you.
All 16 of y'all. Well,
14.
including the two of us. Yeah, all 14 of y'all. Prepare to get beat down. There's gonna be a lot of trash talking. It was a good amount of trash talking in the chat during the
draft.
I appreciate that. Phil Hall, my man. Brad Benedict. Now the names are coming through. Appreciate the trash talk. It was enjoyable. Dan Drago, good stuff from everybody. And I think we will. I'm sort of surprised he didn't do it. We'll create a channel on the Discord server specifically for the fantasy football smack talk, and to alert anybody of trade proposals if they're not keeping tabs on their Yahoo email, stuff like that. And we were looking to have a enjoyable season for 2020. Hopefully something enjoyable will come out of 2020.
Yeah. Hopefully the season still continues.
Hopefully it happens. Yeah, it's
so far so good, right?
Exactly. So far, well, we're trying to keep positive in this. So far, so good. But so far with the NFL season, so far, so good.
Yeah.
They need to happen. I think they said there was one positive result of from COVID from the NFL. So and I really apologize to anybody listening if you heard sounds in the background. For some, I was watching Battlestar Galactica before I rewatch, and I just forgot to turn it off because it's Battlestar. It's awesome. So
love Battlestar.
Yes, Battlestar is dope. Looking forward to recording episode 1.
So say we all.
So say we all. And before I ask our question, happy birthday, Sega Dreamcast, released 99.99.
99.99.
UNIQDNA, since we've been talking so much recently, thank God, because we're supposed to be consistent. Instead of my usual, what are you playing? What is your favorite Dreamcast game?
That's tough. This is a toss-up, I think, between Shenmue and man, there was so many good ones. Probably Shenmue and Power Stone.
Okay.
Which are total opposite ends of the spectrum, but like
okay, those are two games.
Yeah, those are my two games that I was like in love with. Power Stone was like the Sega Dreamcast version of Smash, with pretty much. For those that don't know what it is or haven't played it, it was more or less that. It had that same type of battle royale sort of feel to it, and you can go all over the map and all up in the sky and all types of crazy stuff, just like Smash. And and then Shenmue was just like amazing story, super immersive. I love RPGs. I've always loved RPGs since I can remember. And so, yeah, I mean, I don't really have to tell you the legend of Shenmue and why that's my favorite game. But yeah, I think like when you say Sega Dreamcast, those are the first two that come to my mind. So yeah, I'd probably say those two. Probably Shenmue more, just because, like I said, I love RPGs, I love storytelling, and so it's got that. And Power Stone, you can kind of get that feel in other games. It was unique in its own way, but I can get that fix in other games that I can't get from. I mean, now Shenmue's been re-released on PS4 and different things, but before that,
it was a completely unique experience to Dreamcast.
Yeah, it was very unique and way ahead of its time, by the way.
Super ahead of its time. Oh yeah,
like the fact that it's being re-released and it looks just as good as it did on the Dreamcast just shows you how much how far ahead they were with graphics and everything.
Well, the fact that, like, obviously, I mean, it was 99 when it came out, but
was it 99? Well, yeah, because Dreamcast is only out for what, 2 years or 3?
It didn't last long as far as the hardware still being in production. But I want to say Shenmue dropped in 99.
Hmm.
Fairly positive on that.
I feel like it was 2000, but
Oh,
it
it was
could have
99.
been.
I'm looking on Wikipedia here. It
Wow.
dropped in 99. Yeah, I
So
mean,
maybe I was just late to the party.
well, I was late to the party too. And Shenmue is my favorite Dreamcast game by far. Like there are some closer seconds. Fantasy Star
was good.
Fantasy Star was amazing. 2K.
And it had online play.
Yes, it was online. Fantasy Star online.
Nobody had broadband back then, but it was
No, but still,
unless you were rich.
yeah, money. But so that was up there. 2K1 with the AI on the cover was super dope.
2K was fire.
That's still my favorite 2K ever.
2K, NFL 2K was fire too with Randy Moss on the cover.
It was good. I did not like it as much as NBA 2K. Their shoulders on the
their character models were terrible. The polygons were just horrible, but
they weren't great. And the arrows, for the burst, and it was good. It was enjoyable, and it definitely had a better, smoother gameplay than Madden was doing. Because Madden did great with Madden 2000, but then after that, they kind of downgraded.
2K just started murdering them because I remember 2K4, I think it was, and 2K2 was just like NFL 2K2 was like we didn't play anything else. We were like screw Madden. It was just like NFL 2K4. I think it was 2K4. You're like that's all we were playing.
It was. I mean, I really liked. I really liked 2K1. I did not like 2K actually. I wasn't digging it. I thought NBA Live 2000 was better than 2K, but then 2K1 dropped, and I was like, okay, this is clearly better. This is a better game. It is
NBA. Yeah, the first NBA 2K, it was cool. Yeah, I went back and forth. I was like Live 2000, 2K. I played Live 2000 more. I had both of them, but yeah, I think 2K1 was when it really shifted. Like they found their groove, which I mean now 21 years later, they're still going. They're still the best NBA game in the market. So yeah, I gotta agree with that. 2K wasn't the best. I think it did well because it was just different. It was new. It was better than NBA Showtime.
You talking about the Microsoft one?
Was it?
That was Inside Drive.
Not Inside Drive. There was a lot. We had a lot of NBA games back then. Inside Drive was trash.
Inside Drive was trash. I played it, but I played it because I got it for free because I was working for EB Games at the time, and Microsoft used to send us boxes with just Microsoft, swag game. Yeah. So like I had an Xbox, T-shirt. I got free Inside Drive. I had keychains, all types of Microsoft swag. So that's the only reason why I had Inside Drive and played. But yeah, it had. I think they had. I think it was Paul Pierce on the cover of that year of Inside Drive. Yeah, it was bad. It was not good.
I'm trying to think of what was it? I gotta look it up now. Because it's gonna drive me nuts. So I remember what it was. It was 2000, 99. In the Zone. Konami.
Oh yeah. They had Steve Smith on that cover, didn't it?
Yeah.
Smitty, my man.
In the Zone, and then what was the other one too? They used to. I got it right here. I should know it. 989 Sports. Oh, Shootout.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was Smitty on Shootout? Or was he on In the Zone? He might have been on Shootout.
I can't see the covers. They don't have the covers. They just got the titles. I think he was on In the Zone. I want to say he was on In the Zone.
is that? Let's see. Let's look. Okay. NBA Shootout 97 is Kobe. We've got that. Who is that? Sam Cassell on one of these? Why? Oh, that's Sam Cassell. Oh, wow. Snap. I did not remember Sam Cassell being on the cover. I mean, I like Sam Cassell. Sam I Am was a very, very good point guard, all-star level. But Sam Cassell would not have been my choice for wow. Sam Cassell. Oh, well, of course, got a Facebook message. And because I'm multitasking. Oh man. Yeah, we got Hakeem on. So I think Sam might have been the first one too, because this just says shootout. It doesn't even have a year.
Yeah, that was when like they did like their relaunch.
Cover athlete for shootout. Wow. So we got Kobe. No, that's not even Kobe. I'm just glancing. I'm not looking big. That's Eddie Jones, ain't it? Yes, it is. Eddie Jones is on 97, which is cool. I'm a big Eddie Jones fan. So we got Sam Cassell. We got Eddie Jones in 97. We got Hakeem in 98. Let's see. I don't see 99 looking here, but I do see J Kidd is on 2000 and C Webb is 2001. So in the zone would have been Smitty, because 2002 is Starbury for shootout. 2003 is still on the Bucks, Ray Allen. 04 T-Mac. Yeah. Look, 2001. Oh, that's a different version. 2001. Okay.
No, in the zone.
Almost Smitty then. Wow.
In the zone 2000. I can't see the picture. It's like super small.
Let's see. In the zone 98 is Glenn Rice, G Money.
Is that Allen Houston? Can't be. Is it?
Can't be. Looks like G Money was on. Oh, G Money was on 99 as well for In the Zone. So you had back-to-back covers. Looks like the first In the Zone just had the Spurs versus the Rockets. We got a jump ball going on. Looks like the back of Admiral and Admiral's shooting and someone's trying to defend him. Looks like we got Willie Anderson jumping, Jerome Kersey trying to box out somebody.
I remember that. I remember that cover. Oh man, that brings back memories.
So that was In the Zone. And In the Zone 2 just said In the Zone 2. What's the number 2? No players on it.
Yeah, but 2000 was
2000 is Marcus Camby.
Yep.
For the Knicks, Marcus Camby. So we went from G Money back to back from 98 to 99 between the Hornets and the Lakers, and then Marcus Camby. I could have swore Smitty was on one of the covers. I know he was in an ad because I remember it in a Slam magazine, and he was in the ad.
There was so many games back then for NBA. He probably was in one of them. What's this virtual NBA?
Wait, hold on. Glenn Rice was on the cover of NBA Power Dunkers 3, which is what In the Zone was called for Japan.
Wow.
NBA Power Dunkers, and you've got Glenn Rice on the cover. Oh, Japan is wild.
Oh man.
Oh my Lord. I can't even. I'm loving these Power Dunkers covers. Like, I need this on a shirt. Like, I need it to be common use. Like, I don't want the Japanese or Konami to sue us, but since we are really out here just giving zero, I just throw this on the shirt and Power Dunkers. Oh man,
In the Zone.
Oh, In the Zone's got one of the best shooters of his era on their Power Dunkers cover. And even though he dunked, Marcus Camby was not exactly a power dunker. Wow.
Man, are you seeing these graphics? They
Yeah,
were
man.
fire. Hold on, let me see if I can share my screen real quick.
Rocky Boys, man. What it is.
Bruh, I forgot. Like, what?
This was revolutionary. We could see their face. This was
like that was bringing back mad memories. I remember when you would shoot the ball. They would like go flying. Like it had like no motion mechanics. It would just like go from their hands to like like oh man, good times.
oh, great stuff. See that's beautiful. That's what we need in this life.
Polygons. Yo, we thought the graphics were fire back then.
They
So we
were
were like, yeah,
that was fire.
them cutscenes were amazing.
Before that, all we really had was Tecmo NBA basketball, and that just had a whole bunch of brothers that all looked the same. It was very their names on the screen. Like that didn't look like no Michael Jordan. Didn't look like Isaiah Thomas. It just looked like, brother number 1, brother number 2, tall brother number 3. Like we couldn't identify.
Those were the days.
I mean, we played Jordan versus Bird on the NES or whatever system, because it was like on every system, and they looked nothing like Jordan or Bird.
Yeah, no, not at all. Oh, this is
not even slightly like Jordan or Bird.
It's insane.
Now, being that we're just completely off topic here, one video game that I miss that I had so much fun playing was because there's multiple. I want to say it was Bulls versus Lakers and the NBA playoffs.
Okay.
For Genesis. And then I think it was Bulls versus Lakers, and then the next year was Bulls versus Blazers. Why
do I not remember that one?
Shut up, Siri. It was good. It was fun. Well, I mean, we're talking.
I had Magic and Bird. No, not Magic. Where I had Jordan versus Bird on Sega.
On Sega. Okay.
Was it Sega? Yeah, Sega.
These games came out. It would come out after the season ended, so it featured the NBA Finals.
I do remember those. Yeah, my dad was like, "No, I'm not buying that."
Bulls versus Blazers was my favorite. That was the one I liked the most. Bulls versus Lakers was good, but Bulls versus Blazers was dope. It was really good. That was really
yeah. My dad just wasn't into the whole because like back then, you got an NBA game that lasts you for about 5 years.
Oh yeah, last year.
It wasn't like this whole, you get a new game every year thing. It was like, you got NBA in the zone for like 3 years straight, and then they might drop a new one. Like they might go like 96 and then drop a new one in 99. So yeah, we had I forgot what we had. Well, we had NBA Jam, of course. And then I forgot what other NBA we had. Oh yeah, we had Jordan versus Bird, and then we had another NBA game. Oh man, on Sega, and then we had on PlayStation. It was it Shootout? No, I think it was Live. Yeah, I think it was Live.
Okay,
NBA Live, but even Live wasn't doing them back to back like that until I think when did they start doing them back to back?
Well, my first Live, I want to say, was Live 95.
I feel like that was my first one too.
I think that was my first one.
Jordan versus Bird 1-on-1. Magic Johnson's Fast Break.
Magic Johnson's Fast Break. Now, see, my first basketball games were. I'm pretty sure my first basketball game was Hoops on Nintendo.
Oh, yo, when you would go to dunk and they do the cutscene, and and you were hoping that he block it, and sometimes he would, and sometimes he wouldn't.
Yep. Oh man,
and you had no idea of knowing which one was right one.
Oh man, I played so much Hoops, and shout out
dribble.
I don't even know if he listens to the podcast, but if he does, shout out to my man Corey Miles. He's been my oldest friend for my entire life. Our mothers were good friends. My mom babysat him when he was born. He's a year older than me, and his mom babysat me when I was born. Like we've been friends for our entire lives, and we would play hoops all the time. That was our game. So much hoops, and that would be the Dr. J one. He was what was his name? Oh man,
right? Because they wasn't like real players. It was like
it was So if you've
like
never
made up characters.
Hoop is it's an NES game from 88 or 89, and
It was
I one of those two. I forget, but it was a half court 1-on-1 or 2-on-2. 88. Okay.
Yeah.
So it was 1-on-1 or 2-on-2 half court, and you had multiple characters that you could pick from, and one of the characters was a Dr. J wannabe. He was good on the drive but weak on the jump shot. What was his name? It was like Mr. Doc was his name.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mr. Doc. Then you had Jammer.
I used to always get Jammer. That was my dude.
Wasn't Jammer the fat dude though? I'm pretty sure he was the fat one.
No, I thought Jammer had the fro.
No, Bomber, I'm pretty sure had the fro because he's the one. So I started with Mr. Doc because I was young. I was about the dunks all the time. And then as an adult, I switched over to Bomber because he had just range from everywhere, just crazy range. But I'm pretty sure Jammer was the fat, like the chunky white dude.
Yeah, I think so.
I'm pretty sure Jammer is the chunky white dude.
I can't remember. I need to find the characters now. Yeah, that was I used to always pick Jammer. And yeah, I used to, because then they had 2-on-2. You could do 2-on-2.
Yep, and I would have Mr. Doc and Jammer as my squad.
So yeah, I would do Jammer and Bomber because Jammer was my inside man.
He was strong on the post. It was like,
and Bomber was my dude. To take threes all the time.
Then we had Barbie, who was a white woman, but there was no relation to the doll. We had Face, who was he was like the pretty boy white dude. And we had Zap, we had Legs, and we had Wiz, who looked like he was like this skinny white nerd with glasses.
Man, you bring back memories now.
I just fired it up. On open, I'm on OpenEMU. I just fired up some hoops because I want to see. Probably hear the background. You can probably hear the music. All right, I'm muting it because we don't want no more strikes that we haven't gotten yet. But we ain't gonna strikes. Ain't no copyright strikes.
We might as just this whole episode might as just be thrown out because we already
might have to. That is the official title of this episode: copyright strikes, and that's probably copyrighted. Yeah, we copyright.
Memories. Oh man, my first NBA game was my first basketball game, I should say.
Hold on, I gotta look at these. I haven't looked at them in so many years. All right, we're pressing start here. All right. Start. Options for start. Okay. Oh, all right. So when hoops starts, you see a brick wall with some random Japanese looking graffiti. I mean, you see Yazawa. Like you won't see Yazawa tagged anywhere in the United States.
Right.
And you see a couple dudes. One looks like he's blowing a bubble of gum. All right, and here's one thing that is really unique with Street Hoops that you didn't see a whole lot in a game, especially like 1-on-1 or 2-on-2, but it had a watch mode.
I never knew that. Oh wait, I do.
If you wanted
to remember that, yeah, you just like let it play.
You just said like
don't touch anything.
Yeah, you sit there and watch it play. Which is cool. Like when you've got teams and you want to see, an NBA Live or whatever, when you're like, I want to see what it would be like if, Jason Kidd and Michael Jordan were teammates.
Right.
But this is if you wanted to watch, Mr. Doc and Barbie play 2-on-2. All right, so I'm going to select one-on-one, and then I'm going to go to you can go to profiles. You can check the profile of these 8 players. Mr. Mr. Doc is all-round player, can run, shoot, pass, and dribble. And of course, me being the lover of balance I am, the Thanos guy I am, I loved Mr. Doc for all of those things. Then we got the profile for Bomber. He is the best outside shooter, super fast, the playmaker. And we got the profile for Jammer. Oh no, I was wrong. Jammer's not white. But he was fat. I did remember him fat. He's wearing all white. That's probably why I remembered white. Jammer's profile,
because I'm like, I don't remember.
Jammer's profile says he is not too quick, great on defense and under the boards. So Jammer is me right now, IRL. Fat, great on defense, under the boards, boxing out, getting them rebounds, irritating everybody. Then we've got Zap, who looks really like he looks like a skinny Ben Grimm when he's Ben Grimm and not. Zap profile says outside shooter, fast forward but weak on defense. So Zap is video game pre-Dirk Nowitzki. And we've got Barbie, who has like, that not a bowl cut, but it's like it looks like a bowl still,
like a bob.
Yeah, got like a little long of a bob. Barbie is also a all-round player, can run, shoot, pass, and keep up with any of the players. Then we got Legs. Legs is a system.
Oh, Legs! I forgot about Legs.
Legs
used to get it in too.
Yeah, well, Legs got a long head.
Don't sleep on her though. She used to get it in.
Legs was nice.
She'd jam it down too.
Well, yeah. Legs profile says she's the best rebounder, great inside shooter, and very fast. And we've got Face, who's got he's got his look, arms crossed, like he's like, I'm a pretty boy. Face is tall and great inside shooter, plays rough sometimes. So Face is a pretty boy version of Bill Laimbeer. And then we've got, last but not least, we've got Wiz, who, like I said, glasses, super skinny. And Wiz's profile says real smart and fast, not a shooter, good playmaker, best passer. Well, just so you know, creator of hoops, if they're a good playmaker, they're not the best passer. They're the passer means they're the best playmaker, because that's how you make plays for other people, by passing them the ball in strategic times and places. So, yeah. So that is your lineup for the iconic game of hoops, which you can get for your Nintendo Entertainment System, and you can play on your emulators. I
wonder if you could put it on the Switch. That would be dope.
You know what? Hoops might be on. Actually, it is. I saw it when I went and I played on my Switch the other day in the NES emulator. I saw Hoops on there.
I got the NES. Yeah, you know what? I got to go back and look now.
I saw it. It's on there. I saw it the other day. It is on there.
I'm definitely going to get my Switch.
I guarantee it.
Play Hoops.
But I am shocked at myself at the fact that I do not have Bulls versus Blazers on my emulator. I'm very disappointed in myself right now. I can't believe I don't have that. What is wrong with me? I drove to. I do have Lakers versus Celtics in the NBA playoffs though, but I don't have Bulls versus Blazers. But I used to ride my bike to a teammate's house for like a summer league teammate's house, and he lived in Plum, and I lived in, well, I'm not going to name the town because I hate the place, but I rode my bike from there. I never realized how far is that. Let me look it up, because I know I rode my bike a long way just to play some Bulls versus Blazers. Let me see, map. There to Plum. Let's see. Can I get a?
Man, I used to ride. Yeah, I remember throwing the system in the book bag. Like, Because back then you ain't have to worry about stuff breaking.
You ain't
Because it was all cartridges and stuff. And I would throw it in my book bag, ride my bike all the way across town to the other side of town, go meet up with my friends. We get our games in. Because the other game which was my first NBA game, well, actually basketball game in general, as I don't think it was NBA affiliated, was Double Dribble.
Oh yeah, Double Dribble. I was gonna mention Double Dribble too. That's one of my early ones too. Double Dribble was super dope.
Yeah,
that was a really, really good game.
that was my
Double Dribble. And that corner 3 cheat. Oh my Lord. That
yo
freaking 3. I'm like, you know
that
what?
corner 3 was always hit. Always hit.
Time.
The corner 3 actually made me I became a corner shooter because of Double Dribble. Because I would always go, like, in real life, I would always go to the corner because I'm like, oh yeah, I hit it in the game all the time. So I would always hit go to the corner. And every time, in the beginning, of course, I wasn't hitting them, but after a while, them things is hitting.
Yeah, shoot.
Makes me wonder if that's what Ray Allen did too.
Well, if we ever interview Ray, we're gonna have to ask him.
So did you ever play Double Dribble?
Did you play Double Dribble? Because you did a whole lot of them corner 3s that just drove
a lot of them corner 3s.
Drove people nuts. So from where I lived to Plum, it's a little over 6 miles.
That's not bad.
It's not bad. I thought it was gonna be more. I thought it was gonna be a little bit worse.
Yeah, I definitely rode more.
Where is this boy? No, I'm just out riding my bike.
Those are the good old days. Can't do that stuff now.
No, you ain't lying. You can't do that.
Yeah, I remember I used to ride all over the place, man. I'll be everywhere. Two cities over. Like,
gotta be back before dark and be all right.
Yeah, I'm sure I've at least gone. I know for a fact at least once I've gone like 10, 15 miles away from home on my bike back then. Yeah, because me and my brother, we would just hop on and just go. Those are the good old days. We had the legs to actually make it up the hills and the stamina.
Exactly.
Like hills? What hills?
What are these hills? What do you mean hills? Oh man!
But
that
trip down memory lane has been brought to you by Sega Genesis.
Sega Genesis, Bulls versus Blazers, NBA Live, NBA Shootout, NBA Inside Drive, NBA in the Zone, Steve Smith, Sam Cassell, who amazingly was on the cover, which we still don't understand how that happened. Good for Sam. We are happy for him because Sam was a good dude and a good player.
So getting royalties from somewhere.
I mean, I don't know why he's still copping that game, but maybe
the resale value is probably amazing.
Right? Sam, if you've got a copy, sign it for us, please, and we'll make it a giveaway. And we're serious. Like, if you got a copy of that, sign it. We'll make it a giveaway. We will we'll make sure that all the proceeds go to your charity of choice. Like Sam's gonna hear this, but if he does hear it,
hey, listen,
because
impossible.
Because NBA Shootout was a fun series, not the greatest, but it was a fun series, and it served its purpose during that time. And anyone who was itching to play NBA Shootout with Sam Cassell on the cover, rocking them Houston Rockets gear, we'd be love to make that happen.
I'm with it. Let's do it. Let's make it happen.
We're not going to talk about what we've been playing. We just talked about what we played. But we want to hear about what you like to play back in the day. What sports game did you used to rock? Were you the best at? Because trust me, we didn't even get into all the basketball games. We didn't talk about NBA basketball. We didn't really talk about Double Dribble much. We didn't talk about Magic Johnson's game, or probably the greatest basketball game in Super Nintendo history.
Okay.
You know what it is, don't you?
Maybe. I didn't have
No.
a Super Nintendo.
That's true. You didn't have Super Nintendo. Well, the best basketball game in Super Nintendo history is Bill Lambier's Combat Basketball. We'll talk about that.
Sounds amazing.
Sounds amazing. It is amazing. It's amazingly bad. But we want to hear from you, either in the Jeek Nation Facebook community, and if Facebook's not your jam, you can join us in Jeek Nation's Discord. But we would love to hear what games, sports games, doesn't have to be just NBA, doesn't have to be just basketball, but what sports games did you used to rock out to in the 80s, 90s, early 2000s, whenever you were a kid? What was your jam out there? Let us know. We would love to hear from you.
Yes, sir.
All right, now we are going to be moving.
Also copyrighted, by the way.
Yeah, again, we are violating everything today. What we doing? Everything.
Oh well. Moving on.
Just we spitting fire. We spitting that fire. What else we got? Oh, hey, this is gonna get CBS on us. Hold on. Oh, CBS come after us. We breaking all the rules today. All right. Quick hits, and we're gonna try to hit them quick, even though our quick hits section probably shouldn't be called that because we never do them quick. But let's see what happens. The Walking Dead. The Walking Dead, the show will officially end after season 11. And I make those air quotes for those who didn't see, because obviously this is an audio podcast with some video components that will be soon uploaded to YouTube, our YouTube channel, which we are almost at 100. We're at 85. So help us get to, of course, as I always click on something, there's got to be ads.
You got to stop with the ads, man.
I can't control ads, man. Come and tell that to comicbook.com. I can't control the video ad. Just jump up and start talking to me. I don't care.
Ad blocker.
Yeah, for real. I need to employ an ad blocker on Chrome here. All right. Yeah. All right. So that's more on me. The onus is on me. Okay. But where was I going? I was going here with The Walking Dead. That's where I'm going. The Walking Dead. And of course, now I'm getting Facebook messages because I'm apparently just a popular person when I'm recording episodes.
You're a pretty cool guy.
I'm a cool cat. What can I do? The Walking Dead will end after season 11. And it will be completed with a super season of 24 episodes that will span the fall of 2021 and the beginning of 2022. It's unclear whether they will break it into 3 segments or 2 12-part halves. Even though this is the end of the show, it truly won't be the end of the Walking Dead show. Because following the conclusion, comicbook.com reports that a spinoff centered around Norman Reedus as Daryl Dixon and Melissa McBride's Carol Peltier will go into production.
The Daryl Carroll Show.
The Daryl and Carol Show, as the young guy and the woman who's definitely too old for him ride off into the sunset on the back of his motorcycle.
He should have definitely ran out of gas by now. But anyway,
I mean, what is he using for gas? It's been a long time. There's not that many cars out all that time for them to siphon that much gas.
Not to mention gas doesn't stay stable for very long.
Right. Like, do they know how gasoline works? Do they know that, the engine can bust the fumes and not the liquid? Do they get that?
Right.
You like, what? Yeah.
It evaporates after a while too. Yeah.
if for people who don't know and don't remember science, and I'm not none, we're not assuming that any of you are stupid. It's just this is some of that useless knowledge that sticks in heads like ours. You can have a bucket of gasoline and throw a lit match, cigarette, dynamite, and the boom ain't gonna be no bigger because of the gasoline if it's been sitting for a time. Now, if you pour it straight in there and you see the shimmering fumes, then you're in trouble. But if the fumes are gone, you can take a lit cigarette, throw it in there, match, shoot a flamethrower at it, and that gas is not going to ignite because it's a liquid. You're not igniting that liquid. You're just gonna. So if it's been sitting there, and those cars, they keep coming on. They've been sitting there for months and months, years. Like the zombie apocalypse apparently has magic gasoline, or they invented some special engine for Daryl to ride on and retrofitted it to his motorcycle, and we just missed that very cool episode of some super genius of when the professor from Gilligan's Island appeared in Alexandria and made Daryl Dixon a coconut powered motorcycle, being very green and economically friendly.
Because you still got to save the environment, even in the zombie apocalypse.
Yeah, I said economically. I meant environmentally friendly.
Environmentally.
Economically friendly, too, because you don't have to spend a whole lot of money bartering with other groups for gasoline.
Or with zombies.
Or zombies. So it's economically friendly and it is environmentally friendly. This super coconut-powered motorcycle that Daryl Dixon rides thanks to the professor.
Can coconuts grow in Alexandria?
Coconuts can grow wherever you put them on. This is the zombie apocalypse. They were growing stuff that was not local to that. They were outside. They were in Alexandria. They were outside Atlanta. They were growing all types of stuff that you would not be growing in Atlanta. Yeah. And I don't know how
they think they were like in the north somewhere and they'd really be screwed.
Because able to go, because in the north them zombies would have been frozen so much and stayed frozen that they would have been all right. They just needed to make sure they knew how to hunt, and use more crude weapons, bows, arrows, spears, things of that nature, and they'd be cool. And I'm still trying to figure out why nobody went into the forest and built a big tree house and didn't create like Kashyyyk from Star Wars. Hey. Like, they built all these fences, they built homes, they built buildings, but no one said, let's go into the trees, let's put up a whole bunch of supports and throw some ladders, and we're good. Like, the zombies can't overrun if they can't get up there.
Could they not just knock over the tree, though?
No, they ain't knock over no trees.
I'm saying, could they? I mean, if you get, I don't know, hundreds of zombies just leaning on a tree.
I mean, I'm talking like a network of trees. I'm like just one single tree, but I'm talking like
Tarzan style,
Swiss Family Robinson type tree house. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm talking like a tree village.
Tree bridges.
Yeah, tree village. You have your trees, but you also have some support beams up there, obviously. And you have it's like a forest, and if a herd comes through, you have people watching. A herd comes through, then instead of
that's your entertainment for the week,
right? But instead of worrying about being overrun, you just have to be quiet. Tell everybody shut up, and the herd passes, and it's good. Like I'm like, come on, man. Especially during those times where life was so good, like a year, like they had that one jump where it was like a year. You could have built a tree village in a year. Be fine. Have pulley systems to to bring up the food that you got from hunting and whatever. They could have had a section, and all you gotta do is they could have poles. So if they're in an emergency, they can just go down the pole and have their car, trucks and stuff right there, drive off. Like, But then, of course, there would have been no show and no drama because life would have been peachy.
Yeah, I mean that's a pretty boring show.
But making it would have been so fun. I mean, that's how you survive that.
Everybody's childhood dream.
Yeah, you build a Swiss Family Robinson Tree Village. Come on. Everybody wants to live in a tree house.
Yeah, I mean, I stopped watching after. Let's see. I guess after we cut the cable.
Season 6, what?
Well, yeah, it probably was about season 6. Yeah, because that was when we cut the cable, and I just was like, well, I don't have AMC anymore, so later for that. And then it just felt like too much work to find it on like Netflix or Hulu or whatever. So yeah,
with putting on the old seasons, but
I've heard it. I heard it like went into a slump and now it's like fantastic again. But yeah, I just don't know if I'm ready to emotionally invest that much time into it.
It's yeah. I mean, honestly, when they went way off the beaten path from the books, that's when it started to really to me it hit the slump and it was like, all right, where are we going here? What are we doing? Yeah. I mean, there were some good moments. I'm not, because I watched. I didn't watch consistently. I was like maybe 2.5 seasons behind. And I understood why some characters died on the show that didn't die in the books because actors wanted to do different projects. Actors that were kids wanted to go to college and live other aspects of life and not continue to work on the show. So I mean that makes a lot of sense to have such narrative shifts between book and television show. But then the spinoffs really started happening. You've got Fear the Walking Dead, and you've got.
I couldn't get into that.
I tried to, and some of the actors I was, Cliff Curtis. I'm a big Cliff Curtis fan. The woman that played his wife, I forget her name all the time, but I like her as an actress. It wasn't as good, and it wasn't as good. It also wasn't as good. But I tried.
I think this is the last one that did it for you, huh?
Yeah, it was because it wasn't good. The first couple episodes were pretty cool, just as far as showing what it was like when the the outbreak, the zombie outbreak started.
Yeah.
But they tried to because some people forever were like, well, why don't they just go on a boat and they'll be fine? So they threw these people on a boat on a yacht to kind of debunk that theory. They're like, well, there's pirates out there and they're going to steal boats and stuff like that. It's like,
right.
Maybe. But how many people? It's like how many people that are going to be survivors are also going to be sailors? I don't
Make for an interesting story though.
Yeah, and
now it's like
the first season wasn't bad.
Yeah,
but after that, then they found a hotel, and they were like, people were staying in this hotel, and they were like, all right, we're going to live in this hotel, but then that ain't work out, and yeah. It was, and then they've got Walking Dead. I forget what the official title is. They got Walking Dead, the Teenage Edition. That's just all teenagers. Walking Dead, the CW version.
I did see that, and I was like, "What is this?" But I didn't actually watch it. I just saw like a trailer or something. I was like,
"It's hot garbage."
That looks like trash.
Yeah. Yep. So then we'll get pretty much what we've already.
And now we're going to get a romance story.
Well,
the Daryl and Carol show.
The Daryl and Carol show, which essentially is already an existing show because Norman Reedus already has that. Norman Reedus goes on a motorcycle everywhere around the country show. So
yeah, but now with Carol.
But now it's going to be with Carol and his crossbow. So
and his crossbow.
Which
another one of those infinite supply of
so many arrows, and we don't keep making new arrows. And it's not like and it's not like it's a bow where you can make arrows a lot easier. It's a crossbow. You've got to have crossbow bolts. That is not something you can just it's not the same. You can't just take an arrow that you shoot a compound bow and just throw it on a crossbow. It's not the same thing.
Right.
Like,
And you can only get so many of those back after
yeah,
you shoot them.
he's got 100% retention. He shoots somebody, and then he's immediately getting that arrow back.
He runs them down and snatches it up.
Give me that arrow. And if you're hunting, okay. But when you're in the middle of a firefight, and every time you shoot somebody in the head, your arrow.
Yeah, I've played enough video games to know that you're gonna run out of arrows pretty quick.
And some of the arrows gonna break. Some of the arrows ain't
That
gonna
too.
come to your head. Like,
Oh man, you know how many hours I've lost in Fallout 4? Just break. Even my crossbows just break.
anyone who's played, Red Dead does have that level of unrealisticness with its bow, but Last of Us
Is
all out very realistic as far as what it would like to try to survive using a bow. It's not easy, not easy in the slightest. And then we're gonna have and we're gonna have the movies, so we can't forget about the movie.
We're gonna get the movie.
We're going to get the Andrew Lincoln movie. Who knows when that's coming out? We'll find out what happened to Rick, which I'll spoil it because I know you're not watching. Rick fell on some rebar and he got impaled. And there was, wait, do you remember the garbage people? Did you see that far?
Yes.
People. Okay. So the tall, ugly chick, she's not ugly, but they made her look ugly. The tall Eastern European looking woman that was hitting on him from the garbage people, she had connections with the helicopter people. So she betrayed them. She betrayed Rick's group after they had let her in, and then she ran away. And then Rick fell on the rebar, and she found him, and then she called her helicopter people, and they rescued Rick. So Rick is somewhere with the helicopter people. No one knows where or who the helicopter people are, but we know Rick is alive and
making more dumb decisions. Got it.
Yeah. And then we've got then Michonne left. So in the books, if you're a reader and look, The Walking Dead's been out for a while. So if you're not caught up and we're spoiling for you, I'm sorry. That's just what it is. In the comic books, Laurie's dead. She and Judith die during the governor's attack on the prison. In the show, Judith survives and is raised by Rick and Michonne as they're in a relationship. And then Rick's disappearance leaves Michonne to raise not only Judith by herself and teaching her the ways of the black samurai, but she also was pregnant by Rick, and they have a son that Rick never met, or no, I don't think Rick met. Yeah, because she was pregnant. So Rick never met, named RJ. And so Judith is alive in the show, and Michonne gets captured, whatever, and she radios to Judith. It's like, I found some boots from your daddy. And she's like, well, you need to go find him. What? Your child is telling the only mother she knows to go search for her dad and leave her and her 5-year-old brother alone with the people at the town. What?
Makes perfect sense.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. So she'll probably show up in the movie too. And I mean, shoot, I love her. I don't remember how to pronounce her name all half the time. I'll hear it and I'm like, yeah, that's how I pronounce it. And then I won't say it for a long time. Then I forget how to pronounce it. But Okoye, you know who you is. Love you. You're fantastic. Would love to see you in that eventual Walking Dead movie that I am not going to see in theaters. However, I'm sorry, I'm not paying the theater to see that. So the Walking Dead show may be ending, but their universe plans to continue. Which is why, to me, it doesn't even make sense to say it's ending, because they're going to continue to do spin-offs and who knows what, because we still need to keep Talking Dead on after all.
Yeah.
Chris Hardwick needs
actually
a job.
But does he really though? Doesn't he he owns the whole Nerdist network? I think he's good.
I don't think he does though. I thought he got kicked out of Nerdist.
Did he? He was the He founded Nerdist.
I know, but I think they booted him because of those allegations that I'm pretty sure did not come out to be true.
Never. Well, I shouldn't say never, but either way, I'm sure he made a ton of money before that happened anyway. Because the whole Nerdist YouTube scene was just blowing up.
Oh yeah, it was crazy.
And then he could always go back to G4.
Yeah, G4 is apparently, making a comeback. So
Making a reboot.
I mean, shoot.
I actually do enjoy The Talking Dead. Well, when I used to watch it, I enjoyed it.
No, I thought that was a great idea. Came on. I mean, just having. I mean, it's what people do. It's what we do. We watch something, we're immediately talking to each other about it, and we're talking to people about it. So, yeah, it made complete sense. It was a great idea. Immediately after the show comes on, you're talking to people live after watching the show. Fans get to pretty much come and watch the show with the audience, with them, and then just have a really cool experience. I mean, I think it was genius.
Yep, I agree. And so many other shows started doing it after that. I remember Breaking Bad started doing it. Game of Thrones did it. With the Game of Thrones one was trash, but
it didn't last long either.
Yeah, I think it's like 2 seasons if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
It's definitely I mean, that's like the highlight of the slower seasons was The Talking Dead. It kept you interested in the slower, like when the seasons were pretty weak, you were like, all right, this keeps me interested. So, but this other unnamed show, I don't know. I want to see what that. Well, it's supposed to be anthology. I think I'm more interested in that one than the Darryl and Carol show. Just because it's like the anthology series that's supposed to be.
Really?
It just seems like it's cool, like to explore the other parts of the universe away from Rick and his stupid decisions, and actually all of them and their stupid decisions, because that whole troop just makes some dumb decisions.
Yeah.
So it'd be nice to see some other people who actually make smart decisions. Hopefully,
but then again, that makes for a boring show. They're smart and they're alive, and
but not necessarily like if you can. Because, I mean, they said there's going to be some crossover between them and current characters. So if you can tell a story where they intersect, where, they're the smart ones, but they keep getting drawn into these dumb decisions by the dumb people at the other show every once in a while, it makes for a pretty good story. It's just like they're smart, but these people somehow keep getting them into stupid scenarios, like when they run off the herds and run off the herds into their, knife safe, like towns and stuff like that. Because I mean, you think about I can't remember the name of the town, but
Alexandria.
Was that Alexandria?
That's the one they pretty much stay at, and before then. What was the town the governor ran?
I thought it was before Alexandria. That's the one I'm thinking of.
Well, the only town before them was the one the governor ran. I mean, that was that town.
Right. So, and remember, they were doing just fine, and then all of a sudden Rick and them show up, and now the town went to like crap.
That town was crazy. I wouldn't be living there because the governor was crazy, and they were having those fight a zombie nights and stuff like that. Was there?
Yeah, but they were surviving and they weren't.
But it wasn't safe. That wasn't safe. Man, that wasn't gonna have me up in there. I can tell you that for sure. That's a big no.
I don't know. I was like, it seemed like they were doing pretty okay. Seemed like they had. I say it seemed like they had things under control. Let's put it that way.
The governor had things in his control, but he made some worse decisions than Rick because he was crazy.
He made crazy decisions, which did put some people in harm's way for sure. But I mean, I'm just thinking like, they weren't getting overrun with zombies all the time, like like Rick and his clan. Meriwether County, Georgia.
Meriwether County.
Woodbury.
No, Woodbury's at the end. That's the end of the book.
The
end.
So what was it called before then?
Pretty sure Woodbury's the end.
Either way, like I said, I feel like, they had things under control. They were, they were relatively safe. But it had to be relatively safe for them people to stay there. I don't know. I just
you're
like,
right. Woodbury. You're right. Okay.
That's what I thought.
I'm trying to remember. What's the town at the end? I don't know. Yeah, you're right. It's Woodbury. I forgot. It's been so long since I watched those seasons.
Yeah, that was like season 2, 3, something like that.
Season 3.
Season 3. Yeah.
On with Herschel. So season 3.
Yeah. But
so the thing of the anthology for me is, and to end this very long quick hit, because that's what we do. I know they've done so much with the past, with Fear the Walking Dead, that I'm not sure what else they can try to do. I mean, you could go into different places in the world, but then that's going to require you to create characters that people are actually interested in, and you've never done a format of one-offs where people are accustomed to new characters, new week, new location, new situation, and and have a short story being told, in Australia or in France or in Canada or wherever. That would be interesting because the farthest they traveled was Virginia, DC, and from Atlanta. Kentucky to Atlanta to the DC Alexandria area. That's not a very big, that's not a very big area to traverse.
No. It is.
It is
mostly on foot, but
over the length of the series, you would think they had traveled a lot farther, and
True.
especially so it's like, well, if we're thinking about what the rest of the world's doing, I could be okay with it, but fans aren't accustomed to a shift, that large of a shift in how they're telling the stories. And then the future is essentially potentially covered with the adventures of Daryl and Carol, what happens post that show. So and why would you even jump forward in time with the anthologies? Because then there's not much of a reason to watch anything from before then anymore. So you kind of have to live in the quote now or the past to really have content that's worth watching for the other newer content that's trying to keep the story moving forward.
But I think if you can jump around,
jump up and get down.
Here we go again. If you can do it in the right way, I think you can do it. It wouldn't be impossible to do, these micro stories of other parts of the world, because there is a whole other world out there, even other countries, even if you want to explore that route and say you can keep the story going. but it's like it's now, but quote unquote, but in Austria or something. I don't know. I think it would make for a good story. I mean, I'm thinking about like other shows that have done that.
Give me an example.
I'm trying to think.
I'm thinking about one.
There's one coming. I'm trying to think. Let me think. Like Torchwood.
Okay. Yeah.
Right? Like you had this. It's like the Doctor Who story continued, and then you had like this whole side of.
I mean, it wasn't a Doctor Who story. I mean,
I know it wasn't. It was more of a spinoff.
There, yeah.
Following, yeah. But I mean, I'm just saying, like the main story still went forward, and Torchwood was able to kind of like tell a different story in the same universe,
right?
And still be, I mean, granted, it wasn't as successful as Doctor Who, but it was able to be mildly successful in telling us another story in that universe without being on the Doctor,
right? Because he couldn't obviously be everywhere doing everything,
right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm someone who enjoyed Torchwood. Even the last season with Mekhi Phifer, which I'm still like shaking my head. Another person with Mekhi Phifer. I mean, love you, brother. But that season was different. And that's not on him. That's not on what the guy's name who plays Jack Harkness. That's not any of the cast. The writing for that was just weird. And so there's another American actor that was in that. Crap. I don't know. It's going to drive me. No, Bill Pullman. I'm pretty sure Bill Pullman, President Grant of Independence Day fame. I'm pretty sure Bill Pullman played Jerk in that. But
yeah, he was in there.
He was in there. It's just maybe the thing with Torchwood was actually the thing with all the spinoffs, Torchwood, the Sarah Jane Chronicles. Now I'm forgetting. I feel like I'm forgetting one. I'm forgetting one, aren't I? I'm forgetting a Doctor Who spinoff.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure. I feel like I am.
Class.
And that must be yes. I'm forgetting that. But why do I feel like I'm forgetting something else?
There was 4. I don't even remember 3.
Class. There's Torchwood, Sarah Jane. Yeah, I guess it's just those 3.
You call yourself a Whovian?
I mean, Class is new too. Like, that's still
yeah, it was fairly recent.
That was a couple years ago. It's just those 2. I guess just in my head, I've always, of course, wanted to see Smith and Jones as a spinoff, but we'll never get something cool.
That was well,
that would have been great. But
I'm not gonna go down a rabbit hole today.
I'm not gonna go down that rabbit hole. I digress. I'm shutting up about that. Torchwood and Sarah Jane Chronicles particularly made so much sense because of the direct tie-in with the Doctor. The fact that you first saw them in Doctor Who, you would see those characters return here and there, continuing to solidify that universe. The Walking Dead has been weird with continuity when it comes to that. Morgan being the piece that connects Fear the Walking Dead with The Walking Dead. It's just they did not do as good of a job as something like Doctor Who did in with that extended part of the universe. And I don't know. I don't know if especially because like there was the one episode where everybody was on it. Like forget I want to say end of season, Martha season. So that would have been season Martha was Martha 2 seasons or 1. I think Martha was 1.
Martha was season 2.
No,
Yeah, I want to say 2.
Season 2 was season 1 was Rose. Season was Rose with Eccleston. Season 2 was Rose with Eccleston, and then season 3 was Martha. Because
Why'd
then
you say that name?
What name? Martha.
Martha.
Why'd you say that name?
Anyway,
My mom's name.
mine too.
What? Your mama's name Martha? Oh, we can't
Okay.
fight, homie.
You can't
Our
fight.
mom's names is Martha. We can't be beefing out here. We're part of the Martha crew.
Right.
So end of season 3, Rose makes an appearance. We've got the Torchwood crew. They make an appearance, trying to save the world. Sarah Jane is there in front of her computer. She's got K9. They're trying to save the world. Like, you saw everybody involved, part of the story. So it was like the continuity is so much stronger. They've just never had that with Walking Dead as a franchise of shows, and I think it's too late to establish and salvage that. You know what I'm saying?
I'm keeping hope alive with that one. I think we could do it. I think it could be done. Just because, like I said, I think people were interested in those other stories, right? Like, that's what kind of kept people coming back, was like when they would, they'd go on these long stretches where it's just Rick and the crew, and then all of a sudden they meet these other people, the governor, Woodbury, Alexandria. Like, they meet all these different town, they ran to Negan and his crew, the trash people, the helicopter people, all these different people, and people are like, wait, where'd they come from? What's their story? Like, you know what I mean? Just naturally, you're like, what's their story? I wonder what they went through. Because like, we know what Rick and all these guys been going through for the last 6 seasons, but what are those people? Where they been all this time? Like, what did they go through? What did they experience? So I think from that, like, the natural human curiosity is to be like, what are other people doing? Like, oh, there's other people in the world. What are they doing? Right? Like, they're not the last people on Earth. So wait a second. What are these people doing? And, what are their challenges? What are they facing? What are the term in script writing? What is their save the cat moment?
Right.
So I think there's something there, honestly. And like I said, if I had just picking between the two, like, I'd much rather see the anthologies than the Daryl and Carol show. Because I always just thought that relationship was weird anyway.
It is weird. I like the Daryl Dixon character. The whole vibe of him and Carol was always weird, and I don't like how they've flip-flopped Carol's character. It's it's been just she's scared and timid, then she gets tough, and then she's super tough and cool, then she wants to give up and become a hermit. She comes back but she wants to be left alone, and she hooks up with Ezekiel, and she's being the queen of the kingdom. And then they're like, all right, well, Ezekiel's dead now, so now she's got to be no, he's not dead yet. That was in the books. Then she wants
spoiler alert.
It's not spoiler. I screwed it up. I already said the spoiler. He's dead in the books, unfortunately. He's in the books too. But no, he was still alive. He's got cancer in the show. But like, she dumps Ezekiel after living as his queen. He's like pining after her and stuff, and then he let them hit once, but there's like, we're not getting back together. All that ridiculous CW crap. It's just her character is just her character is too much of a hodgepodge of characters from the books, and consistency is just not there.
I agree, but
Because they made Carol on the show. They made her Carol from the book at first, even though they added the whole woman, being beaten and abused part physically and such.
makes for good TV.
Yeah. And then they turned to Andrea from the books, because all the cool stuff that Carol did later is all stuff that Andrea the books did. And then they turned her. Then they gave her a Michonne storyline with Ezekiel. It's a hot mess. It's just and all those storylines that you take from all these book parts and you throw them into a show character, it changes the character too much. It's not like they were like so. Then this character is just like, I'm a completely different person this year. I don't want to hang around with anybody. Right. Oh, now next episode, man, these people, I've been with them for so long. We were meant so much to each other. Yeah, I'm gonna go back and help them. Or even like they're I forget her name. The actress that played Maggie left the show because she wanted to do other stuff. So the reason for her leaving the show, they said, was Maggie took her kid and went to some other town to live.
Yep.
After everything, after being the leader of Hilltop, establishing the hierarchy and all that stuff, killing the snake dude. I forget his name. I don't even want to remember his name because I couldn't stand the character in the book or the show. He was a complete sleaze. But the original leader, killing him, having him hung, and all that drama, dealing with a potential insurrection, all of that, for them to be like, she just took her
packed up and left.
She packed up and left.
Yeah.
And then she's coming back for this final season. So then she can be like, oh, hey guys, I only abandoned the Hilltop to, hang over here for, a year. Like,
right. But and that's where the potential comes in. I mean, I don't know how many more shows she wants to do, but there's potential there to kind of like tell that story even, of where she's been for the last year. You got that. There's just so many stories to tell. I think the reason why the Fear of the Walking Dead was such a failure was because it was trying to tell a story that nobody really wanted to know.
Well, I agree. People wanted to know. I know personally, I was interested in seeing what the outbreak looked like from, and not obviously from Rick's flashbacks, but what was it like in a big city like LA? So that's why the first season was all right for me, because it showed that what was whack for me was a lot of the characters were just pretty weak. It was, and the family drama that they were really hyping up between this blended family, and this stepdad going out of his way for, his wives. Not that a stepdad wouldn't, but really going on his way for, his wives, cokehead, heroin addict son, who keeps relapsing, and like half the time they're arguing about his drug addictions and stuff. It's like, wait, and it would make sense like the first episode or two, because no one truly knew what was happening. There was little reports of this and that, people seeing weird things, people eating. He was high and he saw someone eating a face in this like abandoned church where people went to get high. So it's like, okay, the guy was he was on heroin. He's seeing things. But after the first couple episodes and it's established what's going on and they're on the run, I'm like, why are you still arguing about his drug habit? Can't get the drugs no more. Like, why is his drug history still a thing? Like, that don't matter no more. It's about keeping everybody alive. Like, why are you continuing to bring up his drug habit? And like the daughter's like, and her daughter, is upset that she's not texting, and because her boyfriend he turned and whatever, and so she's playing on the radio, talking to some guy and having this romance on the CB radio while they're at sea, and gets the pirates on them, and so like come on, like no one's that stupid that fast, like.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying. Like that's what I mean as far as like the story that nobody wanted to know. Like nobody cared about that stuff. We wanted to see more of the macro level, like what happened, how did this happen, and kind of what everybody's reaction was. And like you probably could have did that in like 2 or 3 seasons, and then have it tie into The Walking Dead and call it a day. Even maybe like 2 or 3 seasons. You kind of started off, and then you lead up to Rick joining in there, and then boom, and then you can lead it directly into The Walking Dead, or you can just kind of leave it as it is and then just have it start off the way it did, but I mean, even just as interesting, just even how I think because of the way that the beginning of The Walking Dead started out, whereas like Rick was just kind of like he's in the middle of this chaos and destruction, just woke up from, I guess, I don't know, a concussion or whatever, and he's kind of like dazed, confused. He has no idea what's going on. He's like, and so it's like most people just want to know what happened there. You know what I mean? Like most people just want to know, like, how did we get to that point?
Exactly.
And so like if you can just tell, you tell the story, the first season, boom, you set it up. The first season is just kind of life is normal. And then this is the beginning of the outbreak. And to your point, like people don't know if it's like real or if it's just like hallucinations or whatever. And boom, that's your whole first season right there. Then your second season, you start to show the spread, and then the outbreak really sort of becoming this massive global thing, and then how it's affecting people's lives. You don't have to get any really too specific into the characters, because they're all most of them are gonna die anyway, right? So you don't even really have to invest too much into them.
Yeah.
And then boom, your third season, you kind of like you lead into Georgia and Rick and how he got involved in all of this, and like why we should even care about him in the first place. Because like you know what I mean? Like you picked a sheriff in middle of Atlanta to be your main character for the last 11 seasons, pretty much. Why should we even care? Like, what is his connection? So give us that. Tell us like why you chose to macro down to this guy versus all the other billions of people in the world that you could have picked. Like what makes him so special to follow him around for 11 seasons?
Right.
And then you show the story from there, then you got Walking Dead from there, and then now you got your 2 spinoff shows, and then the anthologies can tell other stories and even link back to those stories from the original, from the Fear Walking Dead.
Yeah.
Go back to some of those people that survived, and you're like, oh wait, I thought everybody died from that show. Oh wait, this guy's still alive. And I think he got a pretty good show, but I think that's where they dropped it off. They got in too much into the teenage drama and the family drama, and just to these people that we really don't care about emotionally, because we're like, none of them survive as far as we know, because the last 11 seasons we haven't seen any of them. So like, why would we emotionally invest in them when you should really give us some characters that we will see later on, or we already seen in The Walking Dead?
True.
And I think that's where it fell off, and that's where I think the anthologies will make good, because they'll give you little glimpses or little cameos of those, at least from what I read.
Well, I think
you'll get to see those characters again.
Yeah, I think some people were like, well, maybe we'll get to see what happened to the Vatos, from season 1. Like some of those groups that are people they came across that were that were cool.
Right.
And they really, or they had small beef, but then they resolved it, and they went their separate ways. So that makes sense. That's okay. And I was kind of surprised that didn't happen, a lot earlier with the show as far as when it came to spinoffs, because you establish these characters, and if it was a really good episode, you probably got people asking questions, and what questions are being asked, after the show, because you've got Talking Dead, and you've got people calling in, you've got people in the audience, and they're like, "Yeah, I wonder what happened to this guy. I mean, this group was cool. I wonder what's going to happen to them in the universe." Well, okay, you're wondering. Maybe we should, if you're wondering that much, maybe we should make this a show instead of, creating, goofy teenage drug family blended drama on a new show with characters that no one cares about, and there's no interest or anything at all in them. Like,
Right.
it's not like they were telling. It's not like the Fear the Walking Dead tells a story that gets you to The Walking Dead. It'd be one thing if it was a story that led to the beginning of The Walking Dead, or just into an entry point where someone
Right.
from the show was a part of the group.
Right.
In Alexandria, and maybe the Fear the Walking Dead story was just part of their past they didn't want to tell, or whatever. But some type of continuity, something to make you care a bit more, was my thing.
Yeah.
And I think they kind of dropped the ball there. But going along that route, Daisy Ridley, star of the Star Wars new trilogy, revealed that there was quite a bit of confusion with the family history of the Rey character, the Rey Palpatine character, and she revealed that she was supposed to be Rey Kenobi, but that would pretty much change every time the wind blows. So she was supposed to be, Rey Kenobi, and then Rey Nobody, because she was supposed to be just a nobody, and she was probably Lee Ray Jenkins. They just JJ just didn't know for a long time what she was supposed to be, and then he even said she was going to be a Palpatine, and then changed his mind 2 weeks later, and then obviously changed his mind again. It just further shows that they really didn't know what they were doing in telling this.
Well, I mean, part of it was like he wasn't supposed to do episode 9 anyway, right? So like, I think that's
again, what we said last show, they should have had the story down the entire thing before they even shot the first one.
yeah, which is actually surprising for Disney, because considering the success with Marvel and having that.
Well, they don't have a Kevin Feige, however you say that man's name. They don't have him or someone like him at the helm, making sure everything stays within this particular story.
Yeah, but I mean, she's not the best, but you have what's her name? Kathy. She's in charge of all the Star Wars stuff. I forgot her name. Kathy, whatever. She's supposed to be like the Kevin Feige. I think that's how you say it. I don't know.
Feige. Is it
whatever?
Feige? I don't know. Kevin, you ever hear that? I'm not trying to disrespect your name. I'm just trying to have fun in the fact that I can't pronounce it.
But yeah, so she's supposed to be I can't remember her name. Kathy something. She's supposed to be that person. And it was her idea to scrap the now what we now know as Legends. It was her idea to reboot, all the different not reboot, but have all the interconnected shows, the Clone Wars, the Resistance, the Rebels, the Mandalorian, all this stuff, all the shows we got now. And she was the one who pitched this whole story, this trilogy to JJ to get him to want to do episode 7. Um, so I assume like just based on the formula, and then you have this woman in charge of it and in a similar role to Kevin,
Mm-hmm.
you would think that they would be like, okay, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, right? We know we did this with Marvel. Now let's do this. Shouldn't we do this with our other properties too, right? Like, shouldn't we do this with Star Wars? Shouldn't we do this with whatever interconnected universe we have, Pixar? Shouldn't we do this with all the different interconnected universes? Let's follow the same thing, right?
Follow a general formula.
Yeah. And so like it is surprising that they didn't have all this stuff like hammered out. It's also kind of not surprising because like, you know, JJ's JJ and his stupid mystery box that drives me nuts.
It's like the box of gimmicks for this box of gimmicks. Pull one out. Yeah, JJ mystery box BS is just driving me nuts.
I mean, it's old now. Like it was cool.
It wasn't even cool, man. It wasn't cool. And I forget the other show when I was trying to remember when we were talking with George last week. It wasn't Lost that I was thinking of. It was Alias. Alias didn't answer any questions either. No one knows what the heck was going on. He's just always throwing crazy stuff out of his box, and I don't think he knows. I just don't think the man knows.
I think it's the easy way it's lazy writing. I think that's what it is. Like it's lazy writing, lazy directing. It's the easy way to
writing and good ideas that just turn out to not have any answers.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's easy to just like, hey, I got an idea, and here's my idea. I'm not gonna flesh it out any more than that, right? Like, hey, I got an idea for Geek Nation podcast, right? And it's a great idea. And, I'm not gonna answer any questions. I'm not gonna, because that's the part that takes work, right? Yeah. So it's like, wow, that sounds amazing. And everybody jumps on board, they get invested, and then you leave them hanging because it was a great idea, right? I mean, even with the whole thing, because I read I want to say it was Time or I don't know, one of those publications. It probably was Time, or it might have been Entertainment. But anyway, it was like it was the whole, like they had like a whole issue dedicated to The Force Awakens. And like how this was before The Force Awakens came out. They didn't even have a name for it yet. It was just like, you know, we just knew that the trilogy was coming and JJ was going to direct the first film and all that. And I remember reading the article. Well, it was more like a piece, really, because it was like 15 pages. But I know it was like super long. But I remember reading the whole thing, and it was like, you know, they talked about how she pitched it to him, and she went to him because he was like, he didn't really want to do it, but he was a big Star Wars fan. And she said, you know, her pitch was, well, if you're such a big Star Wars fan, don't you want to know what happened to Luke? Like, don't you want to know what happened to him after, you know, the Return of the Jedi? And not the Return of the Jedi. I'm getting my movies mixed up, but yeah. Huh?
Return of the Jedi was the last one of that trilogy.
Oh yeah, it was. Okay, I don't know what I was thinking about.
I don't know.
Because I was in my mind. I said Return of the Jedi. I remember in my mind I was thinking Empire Strikes Back for some reason, and I'm like, wait, that's not right. But it was Return of the Jedi. And yeah. So she's like, you know, don't you want to know what happened? Like, what happened to the Jedi? What happened to Luke? What don't you want to like know that story? And which, oddly enough, now that I'm thinking about it as I'm speaking it out loud, but I'm like, it's funny that was the pitch that got him interested, considering that like he's Mr. Mystery Box, and I don't want to know the stories because that's what makes the stories great, is I don't know what happens in the end. And so like it makes it interesting that he would even say like, yeah, I want to end Luke's story and talk about what happened. Because clearly he had no intentions of ever actually ending Luke's story, and answering any questions. But yeah, so I think that's just like I said, it's just lazy writing. It's like, yeah, I got this great idea. Let's talk about what happened to Luke. And, he started this school and he became this great Jedi master and all this stuff. But then we're not going to really like tell anything other than that, right? Like, we're just going to kind of allude to those things and never actually like really show you what happened. Because that's pretty much what happened, right? Like, the whole Force Awakens was like just legends, really. It was just like, oh yeah, we heard about this guy named Luke, and he's just like in hiding now, and we're not even really sure why he's in hiding, but he's in hiding. Like, his nephew is just like this, just went off the rails, and we're not even sure why he went off the rails, but he went off the rails, and also he killed his father because like he idolized his grandfather, but we're not even sure how he even knew that Vader was his grandfather.
Like, he hadn't killed him yet. Well, he knew who his parents were.
Well, yeah, but I mean, like, yeah, it was just weird that like it was like, well, he idolized his grandfather and not his uncle or even his mom, for that matter.
Right. Well, he's mad at mom because she quit being a Jedi.
But we didn't even know that yet.
Well, we didn't know that, but we found that out in the last movie with the whole, let's deep fake Carrie Fisher's face and make it, creepily, just young, creepy look on. Yeah, that was just weird looking. Yeah, and yeah, it was just blah.
Yeah. So
as much as and I'm not as big of a Star Wars fan as you are, but as much as I love Star Wars, I try to defend it and I try to make some sense of it and try to salvage it, and I just can't do it.
I just stopped defending it, to be honest. I still love it, but I just stopped defending it. Like, when people are just like, yeah, Star Wars is trash or Star Wars is this, I'm just like,
I'm never I'm never going to say Star Wars.
No, I know, I mean, not you. I'm just saying, like, in general, I'm just not like, I used to be like, what? Are you kidding me? Now I'm just like, yeah, well, if you don't like it, that's cool. That's that's your choice.
We understand. If you're not,
but yeah, I mean, going back to this Rey Kenobi thing, honestly, like at the end of Force Awakens, that was my impression. Like, I was like, oh yeah, she's definitely a Kenobi.
A lot of people thought that. I called it that she was a Palpatine because I was like, they're gonna try to fool everybody and try to. I was thinking that they were gonna flip the script. They're like, hey, even the Palpatines can be light side, and look, we all know that the Skywalkers have this dark side capacity. So look, now we've got a dark Skywalker again, but we're gonna have a good Palpatine, and we're gonna flip the script on them between this, ridiculous feud between these families, essentially.
Yeah,
and I was right.
Hatfields and the McCoys.
Yeah, and I was right. And I didn't. I'm not. I was right, and that's the thing. I'm not glad about it.
But
I wish
like,
there'd been
even with
so
that,
much
like, and we talked about this after episode 9. But I just hate that she didn't own it.
Yeah, that was so dumb. Oh, I'm gonna say my name is Skywalker. No, the name Skywalker is not synonymous with goodness in Jedi. It's a name. The whole point, the name doesn't matter.
Right.
You make the decisions that you make. You live with the choices that you make. Whether you do the right thing or you do the wrong thing. That's if that wasn't the point, what is the point?
Exactly. What did we just watch the last 3 movies for?
Right.
Yeah, I wish she would have just owned it and be like, yeah, I am a Palpatine. And like,
I'm going to redeem.
And then and then just making her mission to redeem the name Palpatine, and for good, for the light side, for the Force.
Yeah.
And as a Jedi, you know, but yeah. And then I was kind of like, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I have so many disappointments. You know, the one thing I didn't call that she was a Palpatine, but I did call that JJ was going to totally destroy the Star Wars franchise, which I feel like he accomplished his mission. Yeah, because it was just, I have so many hangups for him, but yeah, I mean, at the end of episode 7, I was like, okay, she's not a Skywalker. You know, even though the whole moment when she met Carrie Fisher for the first time, or Leia for the first time,
Yeah.
seemed really weird. It was like, you know, I know I wasn't the only one that said it. It was like they were acting like they knew each other.
Yeah, that was weird.
It was super weird. And like, I mean, I know a lot of people said the same thing, and then I was like, and that's when they were like, "Yo, she's a Skywalker. She's Luke's daughter, and you know she doesn't know, but Leia knows."
And that would just be too much rinse and repeat of, hey, the Skywalker dude. Apparently, Skywalker men don't know if they have children.
Right, they're all deadbeats.
Yeah, they're terrible fathers.
Yeah. Well, actually, they know they have children. They just refuse to actually acknowledge them.
Well, Vader wasn't supposed to know. Like he didn't.
But he knew because he's the one that told. He's the one that told Luke.
He knew about one. He didn't know there was two. So okay, so he knew, but he didn't know.
Yeah, he didn't know Leia was his daughter.
Right.
But he knew Luke was. But yeah, I mean, I'm glad they didn't go that route. I really would have been mad. But then I was like, after that interaction, I was like, oh, maybe she's a Kenobi, and you know, Leia knows, and Leia's been like keeping her in hiding, and like because I kind of even like with Han, like I kind of felt like he knew, you know, like the way that whole just kind of like he kind of took her under his wing, like his daughter, or like somebody he knew like way too fast. Especially right. We all know Han, like he doesn't trust anybody.
Understand.
So that was right. So that was just weird, like how fast he took her under his wing and was just like, you know, like as if she was his daughter or something. Yeah. And it was like that was my two theories. I was like, either she's a Kenobi or they're going with the Legends book and she's the, you know, the second Solo. Yes, she's the second Solo, the twin. Like, you know, they had Jason.
Oh, right.
What was the name of the book? It was Solo.
What was
Jason Ben? Was it Jason Ben? No. Dang, what were the Solo twins?
Oh man, it's been so long since I read that.
Oh, me too.
It's not Ben.
Because one was a girl, one was a boy. Jace was the girl.
Jaina and Jason.
Jaina, that's it. Yeah. Yeah. So I was like, oh yeah.
Man was written in '93. Man.
Wow.
That makes me feel really old.
Yeah. But yeah, I was like, they're gonna go that route at first. I was like, especially once like, you know, the whole Luke's lightsaber calling to her and all that stuff. I was like, oh. And then they kept pushing that connection between her and Kylo. So I was like, oh yeah, she's definitely his sister.
Yeah, I wasn't feeling that either.
Yeah, I was like, they definitely stole from the New Republic book.
The New Republic.
And, I mean the
come on, New Hope.
The New Hope.
Yeah,
with the twins and the
whole thing. I mean, and the, like, you know, like everyone has said, the first movie of the second trilogy, episode 7, was pure just like, hey, you remember this?
Right.
You remember the movie we did in 77? It was great, wasn't it? Now we're gonna do the same thing. We're just gonna put a British chick, a British black dude, but make him sound like he's American, and another ruggedly handsome white dude who's a pilot that's a bit of a rebel. Oh, and we'll
Right.
bring back the same Wookiee because we obviously don't want to replace the Wookiee or replace R2D2. We can't replace them.
Well, most of the Wookiees are dead anyway, right?
Who knows what's going on with Kashyyyk? Like I don't know. They won't answer that question. It's just, yeah. I mean, that whole movie was like, hey,
Because there wasn't a whole lot of them left anyway in the Clone Wars.
Well, they never.
Because remember, like when Yoda went there, there was like all the fighting, and Yoda went there, and then.
Well, no, I haven't gotten that far in Clone Wars, so I didn't see them visit Kashyyyk.
Yeah. So you'll see.
I'll see. Yeah, I mean, the most exploration in Kashyyyk I've seen happened in Knights of the Republic, which is like 2,000 years before. So
yeah. So yeah, most if I remember correctly, most of them were dead. So there wasn't a whole lot left anyway. And Chewie might be the last one.
No, no, because I mean, if we're talking expanded, there's Lobaka. He was the Wookiee Jedi.
Yeah, but they don't count, and they don't count.
You're talking we were going back to pure.
If we're going, I'm talking about, if we're just talking canon, I don't think he's.
Man, to me, the whole expanded universe is canon. Forget what Disney wants to call it. I don't. I don't care. I don't care what they want to call canon or not. Lobak is canon to me. He's a fourth Wookiee. Like, deal with it.
Yeah. But yeah. So I thought she was a Palpatine. I thought she was either. I was like, either she's a Solo, or she's a Kenobi.
I couldn't get.
I hope she's not a Solo.
See, I couldn't get down with her being. Well, I shouldn't say I couldn't get down with her being Kenobi. I couldn't get down with her being Obi-Wan's child or grandchild because I just can't see Obi-Wan macking at all. Like if she was Kenobi blood but not his kid, I would have believed that. But I was not believing, Obi-Wan fell in love and got busy, and he was just so stuck in following the rules and stuff. Like I just couldn't see him straying off the path at all. That was honestly my main reason for not thinking she was a Kenobi, because I was like, there's no way that Obi-Wan fathered a child. No, that didn't happen.
But see, that's where I was like, only reason I agree up until A New Hope, it was like he was just he's living in exile, and old man Ben.
Yeah, crazy Ben living out with the sand people. Like,
so I was like, maybe the Jedi ways were for the most part kind of gone. All the Jedis were in exile and just living in hiding. So I was like, hey, it would take his story. It would make his story more believable if he took on a wife and had a kid, and
or if he hid that way, like, because old dude in robes hiding in the hills of a planet where
that screams Jedi.
This is the Jedi. Old hermit in robes, no family. I wonder what he used to be. But hiding in plain sight, having a wife, having a family, having kids. Right. Yeah, that actually is better storytelling. It makes more sense.
Yeah, so that was the reason why I was like, I can buy that. And then by the time Luke comes around, obviously she would probably be his granddaughter. Rey probably would have been his granddaughter, but by the time Luke comes around, his kids are grown, they moved out, or kid, one or two, however many he had.
However, we don't.
His wife probably passed away, and he's just old man Ben. Now he's just old man Ben living in, living in the desert out of his van.
Out the back of the speeder. That's what we're doing it.
But I can see that, and then his kids kind of maybe even like, you can even throw in like he secretly taught his kids the ways of the force, and they saw that, Ray was force sensitive, and so they ditched her for her own good. Kind of the same story as
Oh no,
the
no.
whole
See what
Palpatine thing.
his kid. See what they do is his kids know about the Force, and he's raising Ray a little bit, but then they're jealous because they're not Force sensitive and he is. So then they pretend to be her parents and sold her and abandoned her, and so that would be So they'd be like, yeah, we didn't like you because you had the Force powers and we
Okay,
didn't.
Joseph.
Right. You kept on force controlling your breakfast over to you and be like, hey, look at me, look what I did. And we ain't getting no coat of many colors. And
We didn't get the Jedi robe from Pop Pop.
Right? We didn't get no Jedi robe from Pop Pop. What's wrong with you? Why you bragging on it? Punk Jedi, we don't want you.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, there's so many different ways you could have went with that story and still made a good story, and probably still made a better one than the one that we got. But yeah, moving on.
Moving on up to the east side. We are violating everything tonight. Okay, so the next quick hit that none of these have been quick. We're breaking all the rules. These supposed to be quick hits, and none of them are quick. This one goes quick. Stephon Marbury says his career is Hall of Fame worthy. UNIQDNA, yes or no? Is Stephon Marbury, who let's set the table. Stephon Marbury, who did indeed average in his NBA career. We're not talking about the China career, but that's part of what his should be in consideration for part of the Hall of Fame. He did average over 19 points a game. I think 19 points a game, 7.5 assists, 3 rebounds a game in the NBA. Multiple time All-Star, All NBA player. Obviously not a slouch. Is Stephon Marbury a Hall of Fame player in your eyes?
Yes. Next question.
All right. That's what I'm talking about. Because I agree wholeheartedly. Stephon Marbury is not only a Hall of Famer, he should have been already in the Hall of Fame. And obviously his play in China should do nothing but solidify his place in the Basketball Hall of Fame. And he may have one of the best legacies of basketball of all time. But that's a much longer conversation as far as his impact in China. But I just want to state this because I am a known hater of Steve Nash's accomplishments when it comes to those MVPs he didn't deserve. Not a hater of Steve Nash himself, just the fact that he got 2 trophies he did not deserve. And people claim that Steve Nash was such a better player than Stephon Marbury. Yet, Stephon Marbury averaged 19 points a game to Steve Nash's 14. They both averaged 3 rebounds a game. Stephon 7.6 assists to Nash's 8.5. And here's the real kicker: is the defense that Nash did not play. Marbury averaged over a steal a game 1.2 to Nash's 0.7. Both averaged a 0.1 blocked per game. Nash played 5 more seasons, but only has less than 1,100 more points despite playing 5 more seasons. Marbury has more steals in his career despite playing 5 less seasons. Their percentages aren't that far off either. Respectable 43% from the field, 49 for Nash, 32.5 for Marbury. Even though he came up in the 90s, which still was not a heavy 3-point shooting era. I can't say they both came in the league the same year. But Nash, 42.8%, very good. 78% free throw shooting for Marbury, 90% for Steve Nash. And their best seasons, we've had Marbury 23.9 points per game. Steve Nash never hit 20 points per game. Steve Nash was very good. Not saying he wasn't a Hall of Famer, but he didn't deserve them trophies. And Stephon Marbury was not some bum. I think the Suns would have gone to the exact same place they went if they kept Starbury and didn't bring in Nash. They weren't going to win the championship regardless, and as evidence, they did not. And Starbury would have had the same numbers or better.
Yeah,
and he did.
Yeah. It's funny you mentioned that they came in the league at the same time, because I feel like Starbury always seemed like he came before Nash, because it's like
kind of
I guess he broke out or sooner.
Well, he was a star. I mean, you were a little young, so you may not have been following it, but those of us closer to 40 or over 40 remember the hype around Starbury, especially in high school, at Lincoln. Like he had that, he had the notoriety, he had the fame as this, another New York City point guard. But this time, he's so good, he's so dominant. He had that, what the old heads to us remember as the Moses Malone hype from high school, the Daryl Dawkins hype. This high school phenom that had the country's attention. Spent the 1 year at Georgia Tech, and totally balled out. Steve Nash was playing at Santa Clara. He's some Canadian. No one really heard of. No one was checking for Steve Nash.
Yeah.
So Starbury, then he gets drafted. He's in Minnesota. Him and KG are, exciting. They're electric. Steve Nash is the fourth point guard in Phoenix behind J. Kidd, Kevin Johnson. Okay, he's a third point guard. But see, he's behind Kevin Johnson and Jason Kidd. He ain't playing right away, and understandably so.
Right.
So it feels that way because Starbury was a star before he got to the league, where Nash, it took him pretty much going to Dallas for him to become a star.
Yeah.
Where Steph was a star before he put on a NBA uniform. But yeah, to me, I'll always say Steve Nash had the better career, but in my opinion, Stephon Marbury overall as a basketball player, better player. More athletic.
Yeah. He was definitely more well-rounded. He, even like you said, he played better defense.
It wasn't great defense. I mean, let's keep it 100. It wasn't great defense, but it was better.
No, but it was decent.
Yeah, it was better than Nash's horrid defense.
And I mean, most point guards really don't play a whole lot of defense anyway. I mean, you have some.
No, that's not. Let's see. Why do people say that? Because that's never true.
I don't know. Most of the point guards I played with never played defense.
You play with some lazy point guard like that.
Besides my brother. My brother always played defense, but
I mean, Magic wasn't the greatest defender, but he played defense. He played hard defense. Zeke was a very good defender. Mark Jackson, a very good defender. John Stockton, a very good defender. Johnson and Zeke are probably top 5 of defensive point guards.
Yeah, but I mean, let's look at point guards.
Dennis Johnson, point guard, all-time defensive player. Like, there were some point guards out there locking people up.
Different era, though.
Oh, for what?
In the 90s era.
Okay, Zeke played 4 years in the 90s, won a championship in one of them. Stockton made 2 finals in the 90s. I think DJ retired, I think, in the 80s. His best days were behind him. Mo Cheeks. I mean, that's still 80s, 90s. Mo Cheeks.
Right. But I'm thinking like more of the when I say 90s era, I'm thinking more like the draft class 90s era.
You're thinking of people notoriety?
Yeah. Well, I'm just saying like Starbury, Nash. I'm trying to think of who else. Around that era, you had, who else did you have?
Well,
he was a shooting guard.
That era didn't have a ton of point guard stars.
That's true too.
You had the point guards were AI, who switched off between point guard and shooting guard, Starbury and Nash. Those were the.
You had Jason Kidd too.
Yeah, and I was to mention Jeek and Jeek defense, known for it.
Yeah, he had good defense. That's true.
Chauncey Billups, 1997 draft class, defense. Patrick Beverly now, defense.
I guess you're right.
Like I mean, you're not.
I don't know. It always seems like
I don't get it. I don't understand why people say that.
It always seems like they don't. I mean, I guess that's just a testament to the
maybe y'all just
how they play.
Iverson let people go by him, like and just play passing lanes. Like I just don't get why people. Eric Snow was on the court because he played defense at point guard position. Like,
you know what it was? I think too. I think because not a lot of them, but the most notable ones, they switched off a lot. Like AI, even Eric Snow, he played shooting guard sometimes too. So you had like that 1-2.
Man, I mean, you had guys who switched off because they couldn't play defense, like Allen Iverson, Jason Williams. But that's why they traded him. I mean, he couldn't guard anybody. That's why they made the trade for him for Bibby, because Bibby could guard people.
Right. So that's what I'm saying.
Bibby, people defense. I mean,
people look at him and they're like, "Oh yeah, point guards don't play defense," because you just think about like the most notable ones aren't. Most of the time they're not playing point guard. They're playing shooting guard.
The two best point guards in the 90s were both defensive stalwarts in Gary Payton and John Stockton.
I hear you. I'm just saying, when people think of point guards, they don't think of necessarily defense. You get what I'm saying. I don't have to explain this.
I don't know. If I got it, I wouldn't have the question. It boggles my mind that so many people say that, and I'm like, look at all these defensive point guards from this time, and I'm like, how are you thinking point guards don't play D? I don't know. I think of 80s, early 90s, Derek Harper, defense. Ron Harper, when he's playing point, he was known because he was playing defense, because his knee was gone and that ups were gone. He wasn't the scorer. He was locking people down. Like, the point guards were guarding you. Now, if you're talking mid 2000s, you started to get more point guards who weren't guarding anybody. Iverson and his, in his years, Nash. You had all these point guards who they were like, my job here is to just dribble and pass. Like, I'm not guarding anybody, and which helped make Chris Paul such an anomaly, because he's such a throwback point guard that can do everything. He's great defender, great scorer. Unlike someone like Patrick Beverly, great defender, really not a scorer, not an offensive player. He's there to be an irritant, play hard-nosed defense. He's short, Tony Allen, where Chris can do everything. And you did have that era, but if you're talking 90s, like you had to play defense because you had all these other point guards you had to contend with. This point forward heavy era, where with the T-Max and LeBrons and Kobe dominating the ball and Vince Carter dominating the ball, where and obviously when Alvin Williams is your starting point guard, Vince better dominate the ball. Like, I made an Alvin Williams reference. People probably like, who is Alvin Williams? Yes, Alvin Williams, number 20, played point guard for the Raptors. Look him up. He's not much to look up. And no, he's not my cousin. You had an era where defensive point guards were then becoming old, and they were retiring. The Gary Paytons were on their last legs. The Mark Jacksons were on their last legs. all those guys were phasing out of the NBA. So the Steve Nashes didn't look so. And honestly, that's part of the reason why I think Steve Nash blew up is because he had less people actually guarding him. But that's another conversation for another time. Stephon Marbury, Hall of Famer. Moving on. Not only the birthday of the Sega Dreamcast. 6 years ago today, Destiny launched. Now, I am a current Destiny player. It's probably what I'm going to do after I'm done recording this episode with UNIQDNA. UNIQDNA is a no longer active player who is a day one veteran, though he is still officially a member of the Jeek Nation Destiny clan. And if you play Destiny, feel free to link up with us. If you don't have an active clan, we'd love to have you. We have some clan allies. We raid often out there doing things, trying to get the triumphs, trying to get the seals and titles. And people chasing titles out there. It's crazy. Love to play with you. But let's talk Destiny Journey. Bungie themselves were asking I forget how many 6 million or something players that they have and all the billions of hours played. They wanted to know, has your Destiny journey inspired friendship, celebration, or triumph? Or any of the three?
I'd say yes. Let's see. Out of the three,
that big sigh was because Destiny has given UNIQDNA several gray hairs.
It's more than I actually needed. I mean, I had gray hair since I've been 22. So, but anyway, I digress. Yeah, I mean, of the three, I definitely say friendships. I met Tim for the first time. Timmy for Loco for the first time on Destiny.
For the first time on Destiny, that's true.
Me and TP connected over Destiny, even though we connected here first.
Yes,
we connected over
ITP. Shout out to our former cast member, ITP. We love to have him back as a guest.
Yeah, so we connected here, and then we have that episode about Destiny 2 before that came out, and and we talked about Destiny 1, and then we had like a little raid. I think it was that week or the week after, something like that. We got a little raid going. So it's definitely fostered some, it's fostered some friendships. Probably not like a ton. But it's fostered some. Part of it is just because, like, and anybody listening, they can go back to our old Destiny episode.
Go back to season 1, y'all. It's in there.
Yeah, and listen to our rants and disappointments on Destiny. It's just disappointing mostly because what they sold it to us as a quick synopsis. I don't want to go down a rabbit hole, but from what they sold it to us as versus what it's become are nowhere near the same. It's gotten phenomenally better, I will admit that, especially with Destiny 2. But Destiny 1 was supposed to be the World of Warcraft of console gaming. And we didn't get that. We barely got a game, to be honest. And then they did updates and patches and DLC and stuff like that, and they made it a little better and they made it playable. But and then Destiny 2, we got closer to that. With now the world events and raids and different things like that. But it's still, in my opinion, nowhere near World of Warcraft, EverQuest, any of those types of games, the MMORPGs that we were promised Destiny would be. It's not there. And I feel like, them asking this question is to say, like, look, see, didn't we give you what you would have gotten in a WoW or EverQuest online or even Elder Scrolls Online or any of the other MMORPGs? Like, I feel like that's what they're trying to sell it to us as. Like, look, we fostered these friendships and we built this online community, and it's like, nah, did you though? I don't feel like you did.
Well, for some people, definitely. Like, so, I mean, for me, it's I can't. I'm going to say yes, but friendship is lower. So, like, I've got, and actually, for me, it's actually funny because I'll set the table for those who don't know who. You can listen to the long table version, season 1, episode 3, from Destiny to the Oscars. If you subscribe to the podcast, you can go back and listen to that episode. There we go, really deep. But UNIQDNA is like I said earlier, he's a day one player from Destiny. I did not start playing Destiny until the Taken King DLC. So I was a year 2.5 player. And you should have seen the reaction that UNIQDNA had when I told him that I got to taking Destiny, the vanilla, the House of Wolves expansion, and the first two expansions plus the Taken King expansion, which she had paid roughly like $120, $150 for. And I got all of that for a grand total of $30 from Amazon. Not happy when I informed him of said sale. And that's how I got our friend Tim to play the game as well. So I've been playing Destiny since Destiny 1 year, 2.5. And it really did not foster new friendships for me until pretty recently, where I reconnected with people that I had met in other clans and even from Destiny 1, where it was like, hey, I can't get anybody to help me with this. Let me reach out to these people that I talked to like twice. And turns out someone pretty cool. So we've been more active now. And I actually just got mixed in with a group where, shout out to the biggest blurred group on the internet, probably, Planet EJOBN. If you know, you know. And there was a post about Destiny. People put their tags in, and of course, of the hundreds of people, they're like, "Yeah, I want to play. I want to rock. Let's do it." There's like 5 of us who actually play. Everyone else just threw their tags and said, "Add me," and they really ain't be playing. And one of those guys, who coincidentally lives in or near Philly, he has a clan that I been playing with a lot. They're mad cool. And they've been playing. They met on Destiny. They've been friends for 6 years now. And they're still a clan. They play very often, and they out here getting serious, chasing titles and raiding and stuff. And they call themselves the family. And so there's definitely a sense of friendship that's been cool recently for me. But for me, it's just for most, it's the triumph part, because even though I enjoy them, I'm not a FPS master. I am average, above average at best at FPS games. So me getting the enough triumphs this season to get the triumph shirt with my gamer tag on it, it was like huge. Like, wow, like, okay, like I actually did something. I actually, right now my season rank is like 190 something. Partially because this season is going on forever with them pushing back Beyond Light, but I killed the season pass, like, I think 2, maybe 3 weeks. I was already at past 100, like, blowing through it. Of course, course, I have more time, obviously, being that temporary, laid off, temporary unemployed. So like, I've got time to grind in Destiny, but Triumph has really been cool. Like, because it was so difficult to accomplish things. I mean, you've played and the games got even harder. Like, hitting some of these raids are just crazy. I me and some of the new people from the family that I met. Shout out to Nick and War. They went with me to do Master Nightfall so I could try to complete the master work on this Solstice armor.
Yeah.
Bruh, no, it was shoo. We got washed. It took us 45 minutes to get to the boss. And then when we were at the boss, we were there another 20 something minutes, and we couldn't get past the first stage. And when we finally cleared all the ads, then the relic disappeared that we had to hit the boss with, and so we had to wipe. And we were like, no, we're waiting for reset. Forget this. It was great. An hour and 15 minutes in there, and we couldn't even get past the first stage of the boss. And that was on Master Nightfall. And there's Grandmaster level where people are going out there just so much difficulty. Like, so when I accomplish a triumph in Destiny, like, I'm like, wow, like, I rarely get the feeling that I accomplished something in a video game, but I accomplished something in Destiny. It's like, because it's a challenge, especially on those really hard levels. So it's pretty cool to see great friendships, to have introduced you and Tim essentially through Destiny, which is cool. And even though it was a long break where there weren't any like new relationships, having that continue here now into year 6, it's pretty dope. Like you said earlier, they did not deliver on what they promised you, day one guys, and they haven't delivered it yet. But it's still a good game. It still has the best gun mechanics of any game I've ever played. And because I'm already invested like you were initially, it's pretty much a foregone conclusion that I will be getting the next expansion come November, and continuing to see where they go.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's kind of like, for me, was the downfall of my Destiny career. Was just like, I was so excited for the hype, and everything that they promised and everything that they said they were going to do and they were going to give us, and this was going to be the greatest game, MMORPG FPS in like history. And it just turned out to be a major letdown. Like, even to the point, like you said, paid invested over $100, $100+ into it, just to get what basically was a complete game, that we should have got out of the box. And it just it was disappointing, and it made me just kind of like, I don't know, it was just disappointing. It was like, every time I would turn it on, it was just kind of like, it didn't feel complete,
Right.
And even now, it still doesn't. Like I said, it's gotten phenomenally better, especially Destiny 2. But it just didn't feel the same. But I love MMORPGs. Like, I was big into WoW in high school and little bits in college. So like, I like that style of play. I like the idea, even just the level grinding. Like, it's a grind for sure, but it when it's done right, it does. It builds those friendships. It builds those relationships, because you get these clans and you get guilds and different things like that, and you get close because you guys work it out together. And it's like you said, especially when you have those really tough ones and those tough raids or world events, and you're like, yo, we did it. Like, we accomplished so much. And that's why I was like, that was why I get the long sigh in the beginning, because I'm like, this is what you guys are trying to sell us. Even now, 7 years later, you're still trying to sell us this. Oh, we were, we built this MMORPG community on console. And so, like, tell us about your triumphs and your successes and your friendships. And like, come on, like, it's a joke. Like, no, there were none. Like, I'm not gonna say there were none, but it's not what is nowhere near what you're trying to sell. You know what I
Right.
mean? And so because of that, that just, like I said, it frustrates me a little bit because it's like, yo, it's just not complete. Like it's not what we were promised. And so being a day one guy, I think I even got something special for that because I think I pre-ordered. I was like so excited for this game. Um, it's just like, yo, like, come on, like, give me what you promised. Now 7 years ago. Um,
And understand
because
so like no one can be mad at that because they did fail to deliver. And
yeah,
yeah, and that's disappointing.
yeah, so that's why, like, even now, like I just hop on here and there, not as much. It's just most of the time when I'm like,
We hopped on here nor there
well,
in
okay, it's
many.
been a while, but but that's because most of the time when I sit down, I'm like, okay, here, what are my options? What do I want to play? And it's like when I think about playing Destiny, I just think about all the disappointment. Really, I'm just like, I don't want to
He
play.
gets angry. You don't want to see him when he's angry.
Not so much angry. I just
Nah, I know. I'm
really
just
just dejected. I'm just like, yo, like, what it could have been. It's one of those things. It's like the one that got away kind of thing. Like,
I was just trying to get us another strike for gripping the ball. All right, so moving on to the last quick hit that are not quick hits. Madden 21 released an update and invited customer. Well, that wasn't invitation, but informed. Yes, informed is the right word. Madden informed that Colin Kaepernick will be a free agent in the game. Now, obviously, you can sign him to any team, use him in franchise mode, et cetera, et cetera. And not only is Colin Kaepernick in the game, even though he's not in the game, he will throw up the black power fist when you score a touchdown with him in Madden 21. How do you feel about EA plugging Cap into Madden?
blaxploitation. Yeah, I just feel like, number one, just first of all, like he's not even in the NFL, and we've already had our conversations of that, and in some ways, I feel like it's a nice gesture to say like, hey, we stand with Cap, right? Like, or Neil. Oh. um, from the EA side, and companies everybody's jumping on the blaxploitation bandwagon now. Let's just be honest, they don't really care. It's like if you don't say anything, then you're gonna lose a lot of customers. And so a lot of them are just like, well, we're gonna do something because then maybe we'll gain some customers. Which I have seen happen. Even some of my friends are like, yo, did you see such and such posted this? And I'm like, okay, I'm still not buying anything from them. But they're like, yo, like I support them for life. Okay, good for you. But yeah, I just feel like it's totally unnecessary. It's totally just uncalled for. It's not even like that was one of his signature. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like it's prime time or something, or the Kirby Shuffle or something like that was his signature when he was playing.
Right.
If that was the case, then they're like, all right, that's cool. You guys respected it and you kept it in there. You might as well have him kneel at the national anthem too when they, the pregame credits when they roll. And like that's cool, but
but no,
yeah,
I'm agreeing
like,
100%. And my 2 cents is this. Like you said, it's a cute gesture, but if I was going to buy the gesture that you stood with Cap or you supported Cap, then you would have had him in the game 4 years ago as a free agent.
Mm-hmm.
Why
You
wasn't
would have
he?
never took him out.
Why wasn't he in Madden 20
Right.
or Madden 19 or Madden 18? Like if you felt that, but even if you didn't agree with what he was doing, he was still a free agent who wanted to play football. You've had free agents in other games who weren't signed yet by a team. They were on a team, they were released. So it's not like, and that's what happened with him. It's not like he said he didn't want to be there. He didn't want to play. He wasn't signed. You had
He was a free agent.
The free agent. You had other unsigned people in the free agent pool for people to sign and play with. Why wasn't he in there? So if you would have said, if it would have been, hey, Colin Kaepernick has been in our game for all this time throughout, the whole kneeling and all the controversy. And now this year, when he celebrates a touchdown, instead of doing the Superman thing that he did a Superman thing, right? No, I'm sorry, I'm thinking Cam. Instead of doing the flex thing that he did, his touchdown celebration, he's gonna raise the Black Power fist, and that's gonna be his touchdown celebration. That would be something. Okay, cool. That will be all right. Okay, I can dig that. But plugging him in, and it's this is an update. He wasn't originally a part of the game. They added him in later on. So, that says to me, like you said, blaxploitation. We're banking on the fact that our customers are more than likely to support Colin Kaepernick than not support him. So we're going to put him in the game and hope it generates some more dollars for us.
Right. Which also point noted, there was just a recent post about the fans boycotting the game because they feel like it's not worth the money and they want more. They want more out of it. They haven't. The sales are down.
And repeat. I haven't bought a Madden game in forever.
Yeah, I mean, I look back. I haven't bought one since 08. And then there was that one that I won.
Really?
Yeah, 08. And then I won, I think 2011, I think it was. I won it from like a Doritos contest. But
you win those things?
I didn't. I know, crazy, right?
Wow.
But which actually it was a nice pack. They gave me the coach's headset, the Motorola one.
Yeah, that's dope.
It was the Motorola coach's headset. I got a Madden branded controller and the game. Oh, and a USB stick.
Okay.
The Madden, the Madden.
That's dope.
On it. So it was cool. It was a cool shout out to Doritos.
Madden was like Calvin Johnson was on. I think that was 13. I think that was my last Madden.
Yeah. So shout out to Doritos on Twitter.
Word.
It was Doritos and Game Informer. They had like some kind of cool
good looking out Doritos
contest. But I was just reading about that. So it's ironic that, well, I guess not ironic because ironic is unexpected. It's very telling that they would have this and after all of that backlash, and to the point that gamers were calling for them to end the exclusivity deal and
people were tweeting it, felt like get rid of EA, find something else. Right. It's getting real for them.
It's like, oh, you guys don't love us anymore, but look, we support Cap.
Yeah.
Is any other game developer going to do this?
I doubt it.
Right. That's what they're trying to sell, right? Like that's what they're trying to sell. Like, look, if you get rid of the exclusivity deal, you won't get Cap in your game. And it's like, honestly, I like Cap and everything. I support what he's going through, but he wasn't that great of a player. And yeah, honestly, I don't care because I haven't bought a Madden since 08 anyway. So
Yeah. It ain't changing anything. It's not changing anything for me either.
yeah, I mean, I support the cause, of course, because I'm a black man in America. But yeah, beyond that.
That's going to end our non-quick hits of this episode. All right. Actually, before we move on, I'm going to take 30 seconds and go to the bathroom. I'll be right back because it's like late.
Ad break. This episode is brought to you by yeah.
All right, I'm back. I'm getting yelled at. So, we're going to just do the Golden Girl section and
Cool.
go from there. All right. And okay. All right. So we're going to go into our main event of the episode, our final topic tonight. And it is a section of the Reboot Police. Yeah. So Captain Rock and Mr. Magic and Lieutenant UNIQDNA. And yes, I keep changing the ranks because it's fun. We are
Wait. Wasn't I a sergeant before?
Yeah, but
sheriff.
we got promoted. You know, we bust every time we bust these reboots, we get promoted. We gonna be like double chief soon. Watch. So recently, an article came out mentioning that Tracee Ellis Ross of Blackish and Girlfriends fame was going to or suggesting a reboot of the Golden Girls with herself, Sanaa Lathan, Alfre Woodard, and Regina King.
Mm-hmm.
The reactions were mixed at best across the internet. Some people liked it, some people loved it, some people hated it, some people were just like, huh? A lot of people were like, they're not old enough. And I'm just like, why is my big question. UNIQDNA and I watched this unfold on Zoom.
Yes, we did.
So we realized, and it was clarified actually on CNN's article, that it's not intended to be a reboot of the show, but they wanted to essentially do a table read.
Mm-hmm.
So we were present for this table read. What were your thoughts, UNIQDNA, before we talk about the read itself? What were your thoughts when this news first dropped?
When it first came out, I was upset. For a lot of reasons. One is this past, just looking at even just our past 4 or 5 episodes over the last 2 months, we've talked about all white cast being recasted or rebooted as black sitcoms or shows or whatever with the all black cast. And so I feel like I need to rehash those thoughts, but just take all those thoughts and apply it to this one, and even more so for this one because I actually like the Golden Girls. That was actually a show that I enjoyed and I liked, and they weren't overtly racist or anything like that.
No.
Actually, they were very inclusive, considering it was a all white older lady cast. And so I always enjoyed the show. I loved the show. I used to watch it. I remember watching it with my grandmother sometimes and stuff like that. So I have nothing but good memories of the show. And so I didn't feel like it needed a reboot, especially I didn't feel like it needed an all black reboot. But then once it got clarified that it was going to be a one night only thing, some of that anger, it was more of once I realized it was more of a tribute than a reboot, it changed my perspective a little bit. But I'll leave it at that and I'll let you.
Me? You'll put it on me. I think See, I see, folks. I think UNIQDNA's putting this on me because he knows that I normally have extreme vitriol to spew upon this. As a Golden Girls fan, we've made our opinions clear on lazy writing, palette swapping, and all that. So I'm not going to rehash that. If I'm looking, looking at it in the eyes that it was going to be a reboot, I was like, okay, the cast is fantastic. These are all very talented women, with Tracee Ellis Ross, in my opinion, and this is not a diss on her, but she seemed to be the organizer and the least talented of the 4 of them. And then I started thinking to myself, well, who would play whom? My guess was correct. And if I was gonna cast a black female version of the Golden Girls, even though she's too young for it, in my opinion, I think that she's too young. Tracee Ellis Ross would be the one playing Rose. Sanaa Lathan would be the one playing Blanche. Regina King would be the one playing Dorothy, and Alfre Woodard being the oldest of that group, and I think the only one even truly in the Golden Girls age range, playing Sophia. And she's also the one that, of those 4, that I was like, I wouldn't have cast her as Sophia. To me, she's too young to play the oldest one of the group.
Mhm.
Even though IRL she wasn't the oldest, but she was, she played Dorothy's mother. So for her to pretend to be acting as someone of that age, even for a table read, it was like I wasn't feeling that. I would have preferred someone older. But shout out to you for hooking me up with that Zoom link, because I clicked it way too. I think I actually got it was going to be in the first time, but then I was like, I don't know why I backed. I thought you wanted to talk about it, and I didn't realize it was a Zoom show.
Right.
And I was like, someone wants to talk to us about it. Cool, when? And I didn't get it. Yeah, silly me. But but pickups to you for enabling you to watch it, and with the proper perspective on what it was cool. Tracee Ellis Ross was a good Rose. Sanaa was fantastic, as she always is, as Blanche, and she was acting. She was given sultry looks. She was given attitude. Ellis Ross was being giggly and bubbly like Rose. Regina King was being very snarky and sarcastic. Alfre did her best. Again, she's just too young to truly be playing the Sophia character. But it was fun. Seeing Jesse Williams show up was fun. I forget her name, the woman that started The Shy and was in Ready Player One, the movie. Her as the narrator you could tell she was having fun. It was cool. It was enjoyable. And Jesse Williams playing all the male roles, that second part was also entertaining. And these are fantastic talents. So I really enjoyed that. And I would love to see more of stars doing table reads of shows that they weren't in from their time, before their time, whatever. I think that's a cool thing, because you really get to see how their talent is, and goes beyond the things that they're known for, and you get to see different takes, different depictions upon characters that that you know and love, without those characters being disrespected. So I'm totally for more tribute table reads. That's cool. I just don't need what we initially thought it was going to be, and that they were going to just make a black version of the Golden Girls, because that's we've made our feelings clear on those topics.
Yeah. I feel the same way. Like once we got in, we started watching, and I was in a little bit before you. You missed the first.
Yeah, that's the first act. I'm a little upset.
You actually, you came in right into the costume change.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, once I got, I came in, and what's her name? Lena.
Yes.
The narrator. She kind of broke down like how everything was gonna go and what it was about. I was like, oh, this is pretty cool. I would love to see this like more often. And apparently, which is the part that you missed, is that they're gonna do this more often. I don't know how often, but apparently they have more stuff in mind. At least that's the way they said it. So
cool.
That'd be pretty cool. Just to see that, and like you said, they even did costume changes, and scene changes, and I mean, it was a black screen, but they did the little costume changes and stuff, which I thought was cool, and it added a little bit of just a little bit of spice to it, if you will.
Yeah. It provided the fact that, hey, they're acting, they're performing,
Right.
and I was digging it.
Yeah. The script was cool. It was good. Decent script, Yeah, I mean, overall, I liked it. I definitely thought they were too young, but overall it was cool. I liked it. I enjoyed it. It did get political at the end, which
and you know what? it wasn't part of the performance, so
Yeah.
I was like, okay, I was waiting to see if they were going to do more, and then they were like, then they kept on talking about the census and everything. I'm like, all right, this is clearly over, and whatever. I mean, we know we can't escape, the people throwing politics, like or dislike, in a lot of media. So, it is what it is. It didn't take away from the performance, thankfully. So,
Yeah.
that was cool. And I do hope they continue more. And I hope we see not just with that group, but that we get to see other stars doing it. And also I would love to see people's YouTube channels doing this. I would like to see some up and coming aspiring actors doing reads like this. I think that would be really enjoyable to watch and see other people's talent as well. So I don't know, maybe Jeek Nation will throw something together, and maybe some aspiring actors and actresses, some Jeekstresses and Jeektors who want to do some table reads. I've got some screenplays that to help me with my screenwriting and formatting examples and such. I've got Rocky and some other ones. Maybe we'll have some fun, see what we can do.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a terrible actor, but sure, why not?
Why not? It's all fun. It's all good.
Why not?
Why not? Well, that is going to be it, Jeeks, for this episode of the original Jeek podcast, made by he and I to bless your earballs. I am your host, ROCKINMRMAGIC. He is
UNIQDNA.
And we want to thank you again for listening. But we can't do it without your support, you Jeeks who press play all the time to keep this show going. So please rate, review the show if you haven't already on your podcasting app of choice. We are on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Castbox, and more. Search Jeek Nation in any of those. You will find the original Jeek podcast. You'll also find our sister show, Breaking Ring Rust, and any future shows that will be coming down the line. If you can't find us, let us know. Send us an email, jeeknation@gmail.com, or message us on Facebook or Twitter @JeekNation. And until next time, peace.
Ready to make an entrance, so backward cut. Come on, clap for me.
Oh, yeah. Whoa, slow down. Whoa, speed up.
This is DJ What, and you're listening to the original Jeek podcast.